Okay, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode, another week of There Will Be Dud. I am your duds. There will be plural duds.
Start
We're
over.
only gonna
Yeah,
watch we're
so
watching
okay.
one bed. That's it.
What
You
are we?
also sound
Some kind
like you're
of
doing Alex
Suicide
from.
Squad podcast? What?
You sound like you're doing
Oh,
Alex
piss.
from.
I didn't change the. It still says Suicide Squad. David Ayer. God damn it.
No, it
That's
doesn't.
the worst thing.
No,
Yeah, it does.
no. The stream
For the
the stream title. It still says
Oh,
episode
I
12.
got you. I got you. I got you.
Okay. Anyway, no, I'm
Uh,
gonna fix that. Keep going.
Okay, now let's definitely start over.
Yeah, okay, we are. This is still There Will Be Dud. I am your co-host, J Spot Jack Cheese, aka TJ. Let's do those backwards. And with me, as always,
Hello, as always. I am Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
And as always, I'm Travis, aka the Super General. As always.
As always, as sometimes as maybe, I am now Tiny Deegs, also known as normal sized Deegs with lesser frame quality.
and this week we all watched a movie. Again, we watched a movie we watched last week, but different. But we also. What else? Did we have something else we were gonna do for the intro? I kind of.
I don't
The
remember.
only
I don't.
the only difference is the word "the," like story wise in the movie and everything. Only difference is one word.
Turns out, yeah, they didn't change anything else in the movie. It's a huge misstep. Yeah, was there well, no, we're not going to talk about the one thing, but
What's the one?
is there anything else?
Oh well, I guess we're
Nothing.
not talking about it.
No,
Okay.
all right. Let's just hop in.
Sorry, I broke the cardinal rule of Fight
Right,
Club.
Yeah.
right into the movie chat then. Let's What are you guys'
Yeah.
ratings for this movie? Let's
Well,
get down to this.
If nobody else has anything, I have something that's like, tied into the main one, but like I feel like I've done the last two like intro topics. Anybody else has something, or?
The only thing I could think of is just like movies that I saw. Oh, Jackass Forever got delayed. Did you see that?
I did see that. A lot
like,
of Paramount ones did. Top
To
Gun.
February 4th, I think.
That's some horse shit. That was gonna be
And,
my anniversary movie.
Mission Impossible too.
I think honestly it's because Paramount is just like, yeah, COVID's happening again and people don't want to go to theaters, so like we're just gonna reschedule it to 2022. I'm pretty sure that was like their reasoning behind all of that.
But that is the most jackass thing to do, is to go to see a movie during the middle of a second wave of a pandemic.
Yeah, it's an interactive experience where your life will be threatened.
Yeah, it's full immersion.
Yeah. Did you have?
They
Were
could
you
totally
gonna say something again?
that would be a good movie to put on all streaming services. Just make a really good can deal with like Hulu, Netflix, and then whatever else there is.
Speaking of deal, actually, this kind of ties into. I feel like I'm like stealing something because I'm pulling this right out of another podcast, but I feel like this you guys are kind of giving me a layup. But the Paramount and streaming services, Trey Parker and Matt Stone got a deal to do.
Oh yeah.
A few more seasons of South Park for Paramount Plus, a few more seasons of South Park for them, and 14 movies.
Yeah.
And they are getting paid $900 million for it.
Who is this?
That was like a month ago.
The creators of South
Holy
Park.
shit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just heard about it, but I felt like we were talking about those
over the course of like what, 2 decades?
I don't know.
Like that's like,
I mean,
yeah.
They've done like little mini arcs in South Park seasons that are basically just like movies broken up into episodes, so who knows? Could just be
that's
like
true.
That. I don't know. But
and I mean, when you make a show like South Park that's super topical, and it's you literally just taking the daily news and then making kind of absurd jokes out of it, it's pretty easy to lock in a deal. Like, I know you're going to be pretty much relevant and be able to make content forever because your content is whatever tomorrow's news is going to be.
Yeah, and that's kind of like my whole thing with like Matt Parker and Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Sorry, switch those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is like, I think ever since what was it, that 7 Days to Air mini documentary came out, where it was like it showed their process, where it was like they literally, I feel like right before like the episode airs, they feel like this is like the worst shit that I've ever made. This is so terrible, and then they put it out or whatever. But it's like, I think South Park was the best when it was just jokes and it wasn't just like basically being reactionary to whatever is happening in the news. That it's because like I think because Matt Parker and Trey Stone, like their weird like libertarian politics aside, when they put their minds to something and like actually give a shit, it's like incredible. Yeah, I don't know, because like I saw the Book of Mormon and it was like it's so good. It's really good. And like even Team America, which some of it is a little questionable.
You can say that.
Well, yeah,
I'm sure
that's
you can say
all
that
of their stuff.
Yeah, but Team America's solid. That stuff aside.
But like they had to do like marionette work, like really complex. Like I think it took them like a couple years, and they said it was like the most draining and exhausting thing that they've ever done. But it's good. It's really good. So it's like
like the work pays off.
Yeah. So it's like I wish that Trey Parker and Matt Stone were like at the head of South Park right now, where it's just like, Delta variant South Park. Kenny gets COVID. I don't know. That sounds like the worst thing in the world. Sounds awful.
Yeah, I wonder how much they've been doing. Like, I wonder if their whole show has been COVID for the past year. Like, that's all they've been making jokes about.
Probably a lot of Trump stuff.
I haven't watched South Park probably since like 2010. It's been that long for me.
Same. Yeah, same. But I will say, just like from just like word of mouth and whatever, like I definitely don't think this is also coming from somebody who hasn't watched it since like high school. I don't think it's like it's not one that's like dipped in quality as much as something like The Simpsons or Family Guy. Like I still hear like every now and then people say like, there's like a great new episode of South Park. It's just they're kind of more sprinkled, I think. But I mean, I do agree that like I don't know, it's hard to even criticize them for being, I mean, it's not like you can't criticize them for that whole thing of just being super hyper topical all the time, but like they also just like they lean into it so much that it's like, I don't know, that's just kind of what you gotta, that's what South Park is essentially at this point. Is it's like it is topical because that's what it's pretty much always been, almost, like how many seasons has it been running for at this point? And
it's got to be like catching up with The Simpsons.
When I said like I wonder what it's been like lately, like what they've been doing, immediately in my head I was like, wait, is it still running? It didn't occur to me that just because I haven't really seen it, or heard about it, because I guess I just stay away from that media or whatever. But I wasn't sure if it was still running or if like that deal they just made was like a reboot type thing and they had just stopped, making it a few years ago. I guess I didn't even realize that they were still making it and airing it until I just said that. And in my head I was like, wait, fuck, that's still going?
Hey TJ, real quick, I'm gonna edit this out. I tried to log into the Duds Twitch account, but it's sent you a 6-digit code. If you want to just DM that to me, because I want to change the episode or the Twitch description so it doesn't say episode 12 David Ayer, but I need to like.
Oh, and you can't do that from your.
The doc went away on OBS. I don't know what happened.
Okay, it should be the Duds email account, but let me try.
Oh wait, no, you know what?
It's not my personal one.
Oh, you know what? There it is. I'm stupid. Okay, because I saw the T at gmail.com. So yeah. Yeah.
I thought that when I logged into, but
as you were.
Okay.
Do you know TJ or Isaiah's YouTube page?
I should. I think it's just Isaiah.
Just Isaiah.
I don't know. I mean, I can try as we're talking. I can try scrolling my followers, but
he's not responding now, so I don't know if he's getting back on or what.
Well, there's one. There is one that follows one of my accounts, but it only has one video. So my guess is
I think he just
made another account.
just popped into the server.
Yeah.
He did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's
Cool.
fixed. All is well in the
Oh
world.
yeah.
Okay.
Now he's on a different. He's not on the
account.
pin
He's
setting.
on a different account.
Oh my god.
The man of many
Sorry.
accounts.
Let me explain. So,
Oh, he's on his phone.
Is this still getting cut out, or are we fucking doing it live?
We're doing it live for the right now, and then
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna
ahead,
Bushido
Isaiah.
blade this shit
What?
later.
Isaiah, send us a link to the YouTube, by the way. Go.
why can't I turn your guys' video off?
Because we have video on. I don't think.
I mean, can you hear me fine?
Yeah, we can hear you
You
fine.
sound okay.
Okay, then maybe it's okay because I'm connected to my phone right now. So that computer that you gave me, TJ, it tried to turn it on and it just went beep 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 beep
Oh, yeah.
beep.
that was a microwave, Isaiah.
That General Electric computer that you gave me.
Yeah, it just I don't know. It didn't want to work. So I had to set up the new laptop that I got and it had updates for Discord and they took forever. So
Oh.
Okay.
yeah, that's why
So it's
I
my
was
fault.
just yeah. I was just gonna do it on my phone, but yeah, this is
Anyways.
better.
Back to the show. The speaking of the streaming stuff, did you guys and DC, but the director of Wonder Woman 1984, Patty Jenkins?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She was apparently she's been kind of talking shit about like movies that are released on streaming that they they're
There's
like
been a few people. Yeah.
that they're fake movies. Yeah, basically she pulled a Christopher Nolan and just like started bashing it. It's like, okay. Well,
Do you hear more and more people are starting to pull out of, they're already getting scared and pulling out of the, like, what do they call it, like same day release thing.
Yeah,
Like,
didn't like Scarlett
that's part of the
Johansson like sue someone
yeah,
to
she
get
sued.
Yeah, she sued Disney, which
what?
like go. I like in for releasing Black Widow, like they did the
same
in
day.
theaters and
Is it because
Disney
she's suing them because she lost like money?
Yeah, she
it's
was
a way-
supposed to get money on the back end for like box office sales.
well, yeah, a lot of like big name stars they get their
Points
rate
or
of pay,
something.
but then kind of a lot of like high build stars or high like big stars will get like they get a cut of the gross. That's kind of if you have a big enough name, that's you can make that deal for yourself or whatever. And I guess she had that and now she feels like to me it's, and I don't want to say this like across the board, but like I think it's just an excuse for people. It's like it's denial to be like, well, Wonder Woman 84 only didn't do well because of streaming, not because it's a bad movie. Like every Black Widow would have done so well if it was theaters only. I'm like, no, I still wouldn't have seen it. Like,
that's like, I mean, that is kind of shitty that if she had like a thing in her contract that said you get this percentage of box office if we hit this profit margin. Like that's kind of justified to sue, but also it's Scarlett Johansson. And you don't need that money.
Yeah,
kind of.
also
Yeah,
that.
But then,
Like,
but then at the same time, like if the people are going to be doing, the same day release deals, then just make new types of contracts where it's like if we get this many streams, you'll get this type of bonus. If you're that worried about it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's almost The whole thing just
well,
seems like an Ouroboros.
Yeah. Well, part of it too is a lot of streaming services don't release their numbers. They just don't, and it's all just kind of like for the production companies, they just kind of have to play like guesswork. Like we're like, well, there's a lot of people talking about it online. Like that's how they go with Stranger Things. Like nobody knows what the actual view count of Stranger Things is, but everybody's like, well, it's a big show because like everybody's talking about it. So
yeah,
probably
yeah,
a lot. Probably has a high view count, I guess. But
that's a good point too.
Doesn't release it yet.
That's also like a sheep or herd mentality thing where it's like if you see these numbers like, oh, here's the top 5 in the box office, and you see like number 4, like 3 or 4, and you're like, oh, that must be a good movie. Everybody else is seeing it. I need to go see it too. And it just adds to it. But then when there's a movie on like Disney Plus or Netflix that isn't really your genre, so it's not gonna be like promoted to you as strongly, it's like a lot of people are watching it, but it's not your type of movie, so you're just not gonna see it.
Well, I think
or you're not gonna want to see it.
They're also relying on, I guess, if they're not releasing like their numbers, they're relying on like it has to be like I think I talked about this in an early episode with like Tiger King, where that was like one of those things where like this is what people are talking about, and it's like everyone felt compelled to watch it because like you want to be part of the conversation. And I think maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, like Marvel movies had that power where like, yeah, I'm going to see whatever one comes out because everyone is going to go see it. And I think since like the original group, like Robert Downey Jr., Thor,
Chris Evans, Thor's still in it, but yeah, I go. It's like pretty much after Endgame. Like Endgame was kind of like the finale.
The Endgame.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, I guess that was like what, a couple years ago now. It's
2019,
like yeah, maybe like that you can't just like fill a theater and like break box office records anymore like the way that you used to be able to. So it's like I don't know if Black Widow would have done better had it been like theater only. I mean, I guess also considering pandemic.
I think maybe if it had come out like pre first Avengers, maybe.
I
think during that
so
initial run.
Yeah, during that initial run, because I did watch like every single one back then, and I thought they were all like great, even though like I don't know if I like any pre the Avengers Marvel movie that much anymore. Like Iron Man's the best one, but it's like not great to me. Other than like the only thing it's got is like trying to think of like, okay, that was like, that was the first time you'd seen him as Tony Stark. It's kind of like that reverence you have for something. I don't know, I'm just gonna pull a random character out of my hat, like Captain Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Of course you go to Pirates.
But like yeah. But like, I said like that, you gotta think of like that first movie, that's like an entirely new character. But like now you see like Captain Jack and like Pirates 5 and people are like, oh, he's doing the same thing. But like when the first one came out, it's like it was like genius.
Who says that?
I think that's just like the general vibe.
Give me their fucking name right now. Who the fuck says that?
Dagan will find them.
And I wouldn't say
I also said to you the other day that I think the first Iron Man is the best one too. But
great input there, bud.
But also to what Nick was saying, I actually just listened to that podcast where you were talking about that, like how shit gets released. Yeah, like Tiger King and Stranger Things, like the shit gets released and it's talked about for like 2 weeks. Whereas like when Breaking Bad was coming out, it was like months, or Walking Dead, it was like months where they took breaks and shit, and it was like it made it. I think it made it way more enjoyable too, because then you could like look at like what people were thinking, what people thought. It wasn't just like a fucking bukkake of TV in your face. Like it was more, it was healthy. It was once a week.
Yeah, it was a healthy bukkake.
It was one load of it. One load a week.
Well, I think also There Will Be Loads. I think I think part of the appeal also of like those early Marvel movies was that it was like an actor from the mainstream coming in for this role. Like Robert Downey Jr. had already like established a career outside of like this cinematic universe, and then you're like, oh
Yeah, pretty
shit,
much all
Robert
of them
Downey
good.
Jr. is gonna be Iron Man. But now it's gotten to the point where like I don't know, I don't want to turn this too much into like my pet peeve corner, but now I feel like there are so many actors that are like being taken away from like interesting movies because it's like Florence Pugh. Sorry, you're in like all of the Marvel movies now. Margot Robbie, you were in Wolf of Wall Street. You were in like Martin Scorsese movies. You're Harley Quinn now. Where it's like now instead of like the opposite, where like these actors stepped in to be these roles, now it's just expected that like every actor who's like broken into the mainstream has to be in like a cinematic universe.
Which
it's
is
because they're so huge
interesting
now
that,
too that eventually everybody's gonna be in it.
Yeah, and like
but
I mean,
like,
look at Ben Affleck. He never got away from it. He was Daredevil, and now he was Batman. Like it's a crazy.
Same with Halle Berry, right?
But
Yeah.
like well like a good example of like the contrast of that is like the Nolan movies. Like I don't think people think like those characters, like I don't think people think Chris Hard or what's his name,
Chris
Christian
Hardwick.
Bale.
whatever.
Chris Hardwick.
Yeah,
that's
Christian Bale and like
Heath
I don't
Ledger.
think if like Heath Ledger was alive today, I don't think people would be like, oh, if he's not the Joker, that's like weird. But like when you see somebody like Chris Evans in like Knives Out, the whole time, I mean, like I was able to disconnect, but like the whole time I was like, hey, that's Captain America. And you just kind of have that in the back of your head the whole time.
No, I feel like I've
I
seen Chris
disagree.
Evans in like enough other things.
Maybe
that-
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, if we're pinning Chris Evans to a movie, it's not another teen movie. That's what I always picture him as.
That's
like,
podcast
everything.
canon.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
I'm
Cabin
just
in the
saying-
Woods.
Mine's Scott Pilgrim.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I was gonna say
Hemsworth.
Scott
Chris
Pilgrim.
Evans is Captain America. He's
God
in,
damn
not
it.
another teen movie.
I-
Yeah. Chris
okay, okay.
Hemsworth is Cabin in the Woods. Yeah. What did you guys say?
I guess
Yeah,
I was
they're
just gonna
different
say
people.
like
Those are two different.
That was the
people.
other one. Yeah.
Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth
Scott
aren't the
Pilgrim.
same person.
Sorry, we have to say white Chris
And then there's-
Hemsworth and white Chris Evans.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
there's also
that
Chris
clarifies.
Pratt.
Does that
There's
help?
Chris
Yeah.
Pratt
There's
too.
also Chris.
There's
Pratt.
definitely
Oh.
only white Chris Pratt. There's no
Oh,
other.
before I forget this, in the end credits of Suicide Squad, the rat is shit. Just this. Okay,
I
my
was
video
gonna
went out.
The rat's
It-
name.
The rat is
Yeah.
credited as Crisp Rat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I saw
Chris
people talking about that
Space
on
Rat.
Twitter too.
Yeah.
Someone was like
Yeah.
talking about how that was like a thing.
Yeah. I
Holy
read
What
that.
the f-
I had to have Kalia point that out to me because like I read it and she was like, "Did you see that rat's name?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Crisp Rat," and I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of funny." And then she's like, "Chris Pratt," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I read it and it just like didn't compute to me at all.
Because I read it as Chris Pratt. I was like, wait, they put Chris. Oh,
What a
shit.
cameo.
Okay.
Like he
There's another
voiced it or something.
There's another cameo too. Yeah. Well, same realm cameo, and for the same thing. The
Yeah.
cameo.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah. we'll get into that.
Give me a second. I gotta go. I'll send the link. But I gotta go to my phone. So
Okay.
give me
Then
a second.
that'll be a good transition
break.
into the thing, I think.
Wait, is this
This
our
is
ad
gonna
break
while we're
now?
waiting.
This is gonna be a
Well,
nightmare to
waiting.
edit.
Yeah. I was
Here's
gonna
an ad
say, I
break.
guess while we're, what I was gonna, oh no, I was gonna say that I would kind of dispute what you said, Nick, about it being like the early thing because Chris Hemsworth definitely wasn't unknown when he was
That's
cast as
true.
Thor. Chris Evans like was in
That's
the
what I said.
Fantastic Four movies, but like I don't think he was.
It wasn't
like
in
a
like
big
the
star.
public zeitgeist like all these other movies are.
And
Like
even
Mark
even
Ruffalo.
Robert Downey Jr. had been out of the spotlight for like a decade.
Yeah,
and then he
that's
came back in Zodiac, a movie which nobody saw at the time.
Mark
And-
Ruffalo, I think, right? He wasn't too big.
He wasn't
yeah,
huge.
Yeah, he wasn't huge. Yeah, he was still doing like indie stuff, like The Kids Are All Right and stuff like that.
He was in
before
Eternal
he was cast
Sunshine.
as Hulk. It was Edward Norton was the original one though. I mean the after
Yeah.
Eric Bana, I guess, but the
Well,
original
the one that
MTV one.
the one that popped off, I guess.
Huh?
The one that popped off, like the Hulk
Yeah.
that, or
Yeah.
the Bruce Banner that stayed.
There's the link to his video.
Who was the one in between Ed Norton and Mark Ruffalo?
Nobody.
Are you thinking the
It
one
was
before?
Eric-
Ang Lee's
Eric
the
Bana
Hulk?
was first. Yeah. Eric
Oh,
Bana was
okay,
the
yeah.
original one.
Oh,
And then
okay. I thought Ed Norton.
Edward
was.
Norton.
I'm
No, Edward
loving
Norton.
this thumbnail.
Yeah.
You gonna screen share that? Or are you gonna...
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. If we haven't already, we're gonna are we gonna not do this for the podcast, Isaiah? Like, is this too? I think we should not do this for the podcast, right? This is another like stream
Oh.
exclusive.
Yeah, stream only.
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah. Okay.
This is
So-
like the
Okay.
break, the commercial break.
Sure.
If
So
you're listening to us on the podcast in podcast form, we will be right back after the short break.
Yes.
That was
It sounded like you said the
Okay.
short break.
Also, wait. If you want to see the video that we're about to watch, go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/therewillbeduds.
I thought about-
Is that
yeah, I
the?
thought
Yes,
Yeah. So
Well,
all
it's-
this, something like that. Whatever that you search it, you'll find it.
you'll find
that's
it.
the
You'll figure it
username.
out.
Yeah, or the page name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Just
Get out of
put-
here. Be back after
make
this
sure you
ad.
put
I want to
white,
be
though.
a podcast, huh?
White, there will be duds.
Oh wait, there will be.
Okay, are we in the
So-
break?
We're now in
yeah.
the break.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I was like completely distracted there because I have a football game on in the background, and I
You're
just
the
found
Justin
out that there was
McElroy of this podcast.
yeah.
You start doing
I just-
Duolingo.
I just found out that there's a murder. Here we go. There's a murder suicide like right around the corner. Like I could throw a
Wait,
ball
what?
and hit it.
what?
to your
a
house?
murder. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Holy
it just
shit!
happened.
Wait.
Like it's breaking news.
Yeah. Yeah.
You heard it here
So-
first,
Like-
folks.
Here's the silence, and then who's gonna cut the silence with a knife? And
Was it a murder suicide squad?
Holy shit!
We're still live, folks. So let's not forget
Yeah.
that.
oh
Um,
fuck.
Do you,
I'm
Yeah,
ending
do you
the
know
stream.
who? You know who it was?
No.
I mean,
Oh.
Yeah, let's dox them. Let's dox them on
Yeah, I
the stream
don't
right
really
now.
wanna-
He
Doc,
dared. He
yeah.
dared us
Oh, yeah,
all. I had
true.
to say something.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah, he doesn't
just
know.
hung us
no.
out to dry.
Now,
Just the
now
devil's
TJ,
layup.
TJ
Well,
is
yeah, I guess.
TJ is
No, not on the
canceled
street.
now, so
Only in the
so
house.
now the podcast is finally ours, and we can watch the movies that we want to
don't know.
watch.
This is gonna go off of our Twitch in a few weeks, and then there's gonna be a random like audio spike at that moment in the YouTube version. So
I thought our dirty laundry at the beginning got all of our bad shit out of the way, but really it was just a
What?
warm up for TJ, so he could go right into that.
what dirty laundry are you talking about?
Oh,
Specific?
offline.
Only,
Offline dirty
only,
laundry.
only Craig knows.
Yeah.
Only Craig knows. Don't contact Craig.
Craig 9000.
Craig is only
So is it? Did you see sirens or like cops outside your house today or anything?
no. I even drove. I drove through there twice today.
Was this like a Nightcrawler breaking news where it's like
Oh,
the cops
that-
don't know yet?
Take your
No.
phone and go live.
Yeah.
Travis is like, oh no, yeah, I think I got out of there pretty clean.
Just in time to do the
By
pod.
him saying like, "Oh, I just figured out there's a murder suicide." He's just saying, "I just did a murder suicide."
Yeah.
Okay. Do
He
you
did
want
a murder and then watched Suicide Squad.
All right, let's watch
Suicide was
Isaiah's
myself.
video.
Yeah.
There's
Do you
two
want to do
down.
your thing, Isaiah? Your intro.
Yeah, I'll kind of intro it.
Take
No,
her
don't
away.
intro.
So,
I already kind of intro.
well, I'm just gonna
like,
say. Okay, give me a break. It's pretty cringy, but
It's
I
5
don't know.
minutes.
Yeah, just fucking play it.
he had a Canon 5D
What are you gonna-
and a Rode mic and a full-on LED light kit.
Yeah, hold on. Let me share my screen. Holy shit. All right, here we go.
Pretty soon we're just gonna have like, okay, I have a movie for us to watch that I just made yesterday before we talk about the movie.
Is that copyrighted music?
It's
just,
only on for like 2 seconds, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think we'll be okay.
Okay, here we go.
So I'm gonna talk over a little bit too. Okay.
Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to the Suicide Squad. The name is Rick Flag. Rick Flag, soldier. Couple rules before we go on this suicide mission. If you cross me, you die. I'm the flag man, right? You don't let the flag touch the ground. Don't let me neither. Rule number 2.
Uh-oh.
You better start my fucking name with a fucking R and not a D. Okay?
Oh.
Or you die.
What the fuck?
Thirdly, Katana. She had my back. Her sword captured the souls of its victims. But she died. And now I got the sword. So if you besmirch her name, you die by it. Rule number 4. You die. Alright? Now that you guys know the rules, need to get introduced to each other. So let's go around. Harley, you start us out.
Hi, boys. I'm Harley. In
God.
Flag. I'm really sorry to hear about Katana. I always liked her
Christian.
because she was quiet. Well, I guess she still is quiet now that she's dead.
Damn it, Harley! What did I just say? Remember, I have Katana's sword that taps the souls of its victims.
Right. Sorry, Flag. Anyways, just so you know, I'm crazy. And if I catch any of you guys looking at my butt or my ass, I'll go insane.
This weird fellow over there is Polka Dot Man.
You guys look like my mom.
Ratcatcher, say your name.
Blimey, where the hell is Ari?
What the
That
fuck?
big man over there is Manawe, aka King Shark. They say his teeth trap the souls of his victims. Got that?
Holy fuck.
That big son of a bitch over there is Peacekeeper, aka Big Jabroni. Man over there is Bloodsport. Where the hell's Bloodsport at?
He's in the bathroom.
In the bathroom. Fuck. Probably shouldn't do that one. Probably. Got a couple of newbies on the team, couple new faces.
blackface,
Ugly
man.
faces.
Yeah. Okay.
Scum.
Oh, I
Suicide
see.
faces.
Oh, you're just to that
Shit.
part? Holy fuck.
That man over there is Luigi.
Hello, Mario.
Shit.
This man right here is TDK, aka the Detachable Kid. TDK, where the hell are your legs? No.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes.
This next guy is from another universe. He's the only man in his universe to go against that universe's Joker and live. Murray Franklin. You talking to me? Got a super genetic gene that lets him heal. But only the inside. His skin doesn't heal. Just the inside parts heal. Finally, that little thing over there is the weasel. Watch out.
Marley.
Anyways,
Oh.
before we get going on this, no way, what the hell is wrong with you?
Expelliarmus.
Anyways, before
Holy
we get
shit.
going on with this suicide, souls of its victims. What the hell just happened? Where the hell is my jacket? Hello, everybody.
Just damn ass.
Puddin'! I've only got but one question. Who killed Murray?
Holy shit, dude.
That was good. How do I? There we go. Oh,
I was what when you had Murray show up, I wondered if you were gonna reference that. Oh my!
Oh
fucking
yeah,
God.
of course.
oh, that
Okay.
ruled. That was really good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing you've
Hey.
ever done in your whole life.
that was
3 minutes
Thank
too
you.
long. Though.
I mean,
I appreciate it. I had like I almost didn't show it because I had like a ton of anxiety about it because I showed it to Olivia and she did not even smile.
because that's a very like half of that is only really us would know some of those jokes.
Yeah, I know, but just like
Also,
some
that's
of the
pretty cringe.
costumes,
I don't know. It appeals to like
some of the
our sense of humor. I think.
Yeah,
just,
it's like
I don't
that.
know, like some of the costumes I just like thought looked
Well, I
like
thought that's
fucking
part of it.
ridiculous and good.
Yeah,
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 that's
that
the
was
point.
definitely the
I
best
mean
part.
that was part of it for sure.
because with some of them, it turned
I-
into like
oh, yeah.
shock value. Like the humor is like just how terrifying some of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You use like actual white paint for Joker and Harley because that's
He uses acrylic paint actually because he's a fucking idiot.
So you poison.
What did you do
poisoned
for-
yourself for a podcast that gets about 10 listens
Yeah.
per episode.
He
He
actually
was-
gave himself like legitimate Joker like
It's-
skin problems because he painted himself with acrylic paint.
I was gonna say, he went the full 9 yards on that on the makeup front because he was like really offended when I mentioned that Suicide Squad got an Oscar for makeup last week, so he wanted to like outdo him.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah.
What did you do for King Shark? Like, what was that on your face? Was it like saran wrap or was that just paint? It looked like he had
It
like
was
a
paint or
molding.
something.
It looked like he had some sort of like, yeah, it was like he had some like cum mold on his face.
why didn't you do Weasel? Could you not think of anything? Or was he
Marley,
not-
gotta do.
No.
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
not.
Marley
He must
would have
dropped
been
out of
good.
He dropped out of the.
Oh, man.
Is
I
it?
was gonna say like I thought it was like
Oh.
definitely gonna be Marley.
Oh,
We're
there-
talking to you. Everybody was talking to you.
If I can disable the video, I don't know how to disable the video. If I could do
Are
that,
you on a
then-
computer? Are you on a computer?
Yeah.
Okay, right click.
Right click each person's name in the Duds chat and just right
Yeah.
click and say disable video.
Also, didn't you?
I
You
don't,
called him.
I don't see that
he's-
though.
You're like
It's like he like rubbed.
you're like a reverse Benjamin Button where you're a zoomer who's actually a boomer.
Yeah.
You should be a Discord
Uh,
mod at this point, right? Like that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it looks like his King Shark makeup is like he just like smeared sunscreen on his face, but only like half rubbed it in.
Yeah.
It was washable like skin paint, but it didn't go on good. So that's why I used acrylic paint for the rest of the
And
shit.
it didn't wash off either.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's not doing his video right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
He looks like he has
still has the
radiation
paint on him.
burns. Well, that seems
Oh.
like a perfect segue to
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we want to? Did you want to say anything else about that, Isaiah? Or can we just move into the movie?
I'm glad that you guys liked it. That's
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
good. Okay. All right.
I will say that I shot it twice.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's
The whole
a
thing. But,
director's cut.
Eh,
Yeah.
hmm
The Taylor cut. The
The Taylor cut.
Yeah, the typical Taylor cut, like basically the same thing that happened to me, where the sound was just shit. That's what it was too.
ADR it all in post.
AR baby.
Okay, all right, we are back. What a time to drop
And
out.
Isaiah's gone. And he's
We
back.
are
All right.
back from
Oh,
our
he's still in for me.
Most of us
little
are back.
ad break. Yeah, most of us are back now, and we can't really do our speaking of transition thing anymore, can we? Well, we watched a movie this week. It's called The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn. It came out in 2021. It tells the story of Task Force X, a group of criminals who are basically forced into doing these like covert ops for the government by threat of death if they don't. And along the way, they discover that there may be some even more shady reasoning for their mission, and a lot happens. I originally was planning on going back to our episode last week and doing the exact same like premise, like read through, kind of like with Amanda Waller and Peacemaker. God damn it, Isaiah call him Peacekeeper in his video. It's fucking me up now. But like how she does that with Peacemaker and Bloodsport, but then I didn't. So I just did my best approximation. It's Suicide Squad. Who wants to start us off? It looked like Travis was like, were you just doing that, or it looked like you were like fluttering your paper like you were gonna read something?
No, I was just getting it ready.
Okay.
He's fluffing his
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I'm Isaiah's the only other one who had seen it previous, so I know his thoughts. So I'm interested in hearing all of yours. I think you more or less know my general feelings. So someone else want to start us off?
I don't know your general feelings. Because how many times have you seen it?
Oh, okay. 3 times now.
Oh, okay.
I watched it twice because I watched it like right after last week's, and then I was like, I should watch it again.
Okay.
Just for the pod, not because he enjoyed it.
Keep it more fresh.
Yeah, because like I watched it.
And...
Yeah, I watched it earlier today, and I guess I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, and I think that is wholeheartedly because it is rated R instead of PG.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you could almost like you were saying, it's like essentially the same premise. I don't know, because like the intro music was way better, I thought.
Yeah.
But it was like, it wasn't like, it didn't, oh Jesus, the first 30 minutes weren't just like an extended music video.
Right.
Wherever like the original Suicide Squad like faltered, this one I feel like made up for it in almost every conceivable way.
Mm-hmm.
I will say during like the middle section of the movie, I kind of like checked out. I was like, okay, espionage shit. I don't know. There's plot, exposition. But the first like 15 minutes floored me. And again, I think I'm the outlier here because I really like Deadpool, and this is kind of what it reminded me of, that like super Deadpool violence. I'm just gonna, I don't know if anyone else is gonna talk about it, but the first like legit belly laugh out of me was Pete Davidson. Just getting absolutely destroyed.
I think for me too. I wrote down Pete Davidson is in this movie exactly the right amount, and he gets his face exploded. There's like so many things like that just like work out so much. I'm like, I don't really like Pete Davidson. Why is he in this? He's kind of like harshing my enjoyment of this first scene, and then boom, his face explodes. And it's like, awesome, thank you. Perfect timing.
I think one of my first notes at that, like right after that scene, because I had a comment about Pete's acting. And then right after that, all I wrote was Nick's lizard brain is exploding right now.
I wrote down I wrote down lizard brain violence too. I knew at the very least Nick would enjoy that.
Oh, 100%. Well, again, that was like another thing that reminded me of Deadpool, because like when Deadpool is like assembling a team to take on whatever, a bunch of the people that he assembles like dies in like horrific ways.
Yeah, when they're
And,
like jumping from the plane or whatever. I've seen
Yeah,
that
yeah,
scene.
because like wasn't the Invisible Man like Brad Pitt, and you see him for like a second before he gets like sucked into like an airplane turbine or some shit.
I've heard of,
But yeah, no, it was great. Pete Davidson gets wrecked. What's her face like is like running on fire. But
Mongal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The one who grabs the helicopter.
Yeah, I couldn't tell which ones were like deep lore DC characters and which ones were just like made up on the spot.
I believe everyone is from DC Comics, but they are like D-E-list characters.
Like, because like Nathan
after,
Fillion had a cameo as like TDK or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like his arms detach and he just he's like slapping, and they're shooting his arms and he's screaming off in the distance.
Yeah.
Also,
I thought he was my favorite part of the opening sequence. Like
also
when
we
they're on
lose the
helicopter.
Boomerang guy pretty damn fast.
Yeah.
Because like Harley Quinn is in it throughout.
Sucks. He sucks. Although in this one, he at least was able to, like, they fixed his whole boomerang thing. He threw it.
Yeah, it was
It sliced
legitimately
through two people, and it came back.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I know. I remember it was funny because the first time I watched this before rewatching the original Suicide Squad, I remember actually being like, oh no, like I kind of bummed when Captain Boomerang died. But then after watching it again, after watching the original one, I wasn't as sad because the original one is just like awful. But I will say for like the 5 minutes he is on screen, he feels like he feels like you get so much more out of what little character he has in this movie than you do in the entire first movie. So like I feel like I still wasn't like super bummed, but like he's much more tolerable than he was in the original one.
I guess for me, I actually, my first note is different tone, same shit. And that's kind of how I feel about the entire movie, but I like immediately felt that. And then can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying you couldn't hear me.
No, I just can't believe you.
Yeah. As soon as they said like, oh, the weasel, he's like, they were like, oh, is that a dog? No, he's like crazy, whatever, blah blah blah. He's killed 27 children. And I was like, okay, so like, he's dead like very soon. And then I was like looking at the rest of them. I was like, yeah, all these guys are gonna fucking die except for Harley Quinn and like maybe the Javelin guy is what I was thinking. So I don't know. I just like, I guess that part didn't really, and especially like as soon as like Pete Davidson was like, guys, it's me, and I was like, okay, so he's dead. Either Waller's gonna blow him up or these guys are gonna shoot him, but he's dead. I was like, okay, I guess I kind of saw it coming, so it didn't really have the payoff for me.
Yeah, his acting in
it
that
was
like,
cool seeing Pete Davidson get his face. He's kind of like the Jake Paul. He's trending towards like Jake Paul.
Yeah,
that seemed like my note. Like his acting in that was I wrote down Pete's acting doesn't get much better than SNL. Like he's just an SNL actor, and that's what his acting felt like. Is like he was on set and just kind of reading lines off a piece of paper, because there was it was so bad I couldn't tell if he was joking, like if he was trying to do a distraction for the actual like X-Force, or if he was legitimate. And then when he said like, I didn't realize it until afterwards when they were like, he betrayed us or something, whatever they screamed. I was like, oh, that was Pete acting. That's good for you, Pete. You're doing great. The whole scene was like,
good for you, bud.
I wrote, I was like, it felt like they were just making up for all the violence that wasn't in Suicide Squad, because it mentioned it's like, just forget about making a blockbuster movie, just make a rated R movie. And I think they heard us somehow between the last pod and this pod.
They did extensive
like-
reshoots.
Yeah, they just compiled all of the violence. They were like, all right, we got to make up for everything we didn't do. And then like when I think this was after this scene, but when Bloodsport and his daughter were on the phone in the jail cell and they were just screaming "fuck you" back and forth. It was like, yeah, they're making up for all the swear words and violence they couldn't do in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Oh, continue if you're so.
I was just that also I keep remembering things that I was like thinking of because that scene, the "fuck you" scene, took so long. Also, another scene is like when the weasel dropped in the water, and he can't swim, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's funny. And then he just kept not swimming, and it was just like there was no lines, no music. It was just him awkwardly drowning, and I was like, where? I was like, okay, this is taking long enough to where okay, this might be a plot point now. Like first it was a joke, now it's taking so long, it might go somewhere with the story, and then it's dead on the beach anyways.
It's your favorite
under for that long, but it's
your favorite
think
thing.
It
It's funny, and then it's not funny, and then it's not funny, and then it's not funny, and then it's kind of funny. It's
repetitive comedy,
What's
baby.
funny about that to me is that that's James Gunn's like younger brother
yeah.
who
Yeah.
played the weasel.
also
That's what makes me-
he's also Calendar Man, which is like every time I watch it, that part makes me laugh because he's the one who's in prison.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, Polka Dot Man, I want you to." He's like, "I want you to perform at my daughter's birthday. You fucking pussy."
Yeah. He just says it so aggressively, then laughs so hard at his own joke, and no one else is really laughing.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. Oh, they also didn't use CGI for Weasel's body. That's just how he's built.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I
he's
did
like-
notice. I
actually.
did notice when you went in to like save him that it did look like a practical thing. Like when what's his
yeah, I
face?
guess
The
so,
guy
yeah.
I don't remember the guy.
Michael Rooker. Or
Yeah,
Savant.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
that was another pretty hearty laugh when he was like trying to swim away, and she just pops his head, and he just
Yeah.
yeah, man. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think I'm gonna like this movie a lot more than you guys because like it's literally the
Oh,
violence. That's all I
guess-
need.
I thought, I guess if it wasn't that clear, I love this movie.
Okay.
I really like it. I think like Travis is saying it's the same shit but different tone, but like that is part of, and that's partly why I did want to rewatch the original one before this, is because like I had so much fun after watching the original one, like just seeing all of the stuff that they do the same, but it's like because it's done competently and done appropriately, like there's, especially in the first like 20-30 minutes, there's a lot of needle drops in the way that like, you know, we criticize, maybe not quite as much, like you could say like it's reduced like a little bit, but see, Travis is like shaking his head like you can criticize a thing like having excessive stuff, but like you can still have the same thing, the same element, but if it's done appropriately, it's better. It's not as much of an issue. Like I don't know, I feel like all of the songs for the most part, there's a couple, and I'm not saying this isn't a perfect movie, there is a couple moments where like it does have those like really on the nose lyrics and stuff, but like I feel like it's not like I don't know, like the most recent time I watched it, I was paying like a lot of attention to the music, and especially the opening however long,
I think
and I'm like, yeah, no, this makes sense, this is where music should be playing right now. I'm like,
Folsom
they
Prison
do it over
Blues.
montages.
Folsom Prison
Yeah.
Blues is way better and translates better than like House of the Rising Sun because they're in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Which like
Yeah.
I just assumed that they picked a random song to play at the very my brain wasn't like, "Oh, they're playing this song because they're in New Orleans." Well, like Folsom
Yeah.
Prison. Oh, I get it. They're like cuz like Johnny Cash has like this iconoclastic attitude, and like he's like this
Yeah.
person who would perform in prison. So it's like, okay, these guys are like sarcastic asshole type characters and they're in prison, Folsom Prison. Okay, I get that. So it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of music that's featured throughout, but again, it's done way better.
And
Yeah,
and
I want to say that like I mean this movie is clearly better than the first one. Like by
I would hope we could all agree on that.
an
at the very-
by
at
an
least.
infinite amount.
Yeah.
But like to me, and maybe this is coming, I am, I think, slightly biased because like I am just so fucking burnt out on like superhero movies at this point that it was, and I told you guys this, that I felt like watching the first one like if I had watched this one first, I think I would have like not remembered some of like all the needle drops and shit, because the first one was just so forgettable that like, and I like, so I'm looking at this movie kind of through the lens of the first one, so it's kind of skewing it a little bit, I think. But like, I thought that the opening was so similar to the like House of the Rising Sun. Like I thought it was the same to me, and it like the needle drops are just like, I think I realized that I just don't like James Gunn. I don't like his shit. This feels like very like,
but-
oh, you're gonna fire me from Guardians? Okay, well I'm gonna go over to DC and make the Deadpool of the DC side. And it's just like, I don't know. He's just like kind of try hardy, like the words spelled out in like soap scum and shit. I couldn't stand that either.
I'm a sucker for that stuff. Any sort of like diegetic titling, I always like that stuff.
I like the Jotunheim one where it was like a perspective
that one
thing.
especially.
But the other ones were so like
the Harley one,
even,
or like Meanwhile Harley in the like the roots, the tree roots or whatever.
Yeah, or the fire, like the fire guy from the first one where he spelled out bi, but then it was like, it's like the same. It's like, no, don't do that. Just don't do fire. It's the same thing as the first one. It's like,
it's different though.
It is different.
Just because there's fire spelled out words that like, it doesn't equate to Diablo like doing a cheesy bi after telling his like heart wrenching like.
No, I know it's not the same. I'm just saying like it's almost like a callback, but you're doing a callback to like horse shit. Like why would you do that?
But that it's to like prove, and I don't think the fire thing was a callback at all. I think it's just they were doing titles, and
I'm not saying it is or not.
Okay, but like I think okay. Isaiah.
I thought he was out of the call.
But I think that like that again, that's part of it, like not just the music stuff, but like they have like the little like intro thing where it's like, this is what they do it like through Savant, this character who's like not even like important to the story really, but like they run through the whole like, this is what we do, that took like 40 minutes, and so they call back to show like, hey, guess what? You don't need to spend half your movie doing this. You can spend 2 minutes on it, and then they're already in the middle of the shit.
Yeah, they definitely did the opposite. Like, like literally their intros after Savant, he just like said their name. That's it. He was like, Blackguard, fucking Javelin Man, fucking this.
Yeah.
That was like, and also when they were doing that, it was like that. I had the same thought. I was like, they're really digging deep in the DC bench for these characters.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair though, you don't have to dig that deep in DC's lineup to find shitty characters. DC fucking sucks. That is my fourth note. DC characters fucking suck.
I meant deep as in like you don't. Well, okay, yeah, that you're true. I was just gonna say is like I've never heard of them. I'm true.
Yeah,
I've never heard of them. Not that they suck. I've just never heard of them.
So the polka dot guy is a real DC.
Yeah. But I think like they're kind of the perfect fit for something like this that like doesn't take itself as seriously. But like if you're trying to do like a, I don't know, Final Crisis storyline or Kingdom Come, and you're trying to rope in Captain Boomerang and Mongal and TDK or something, then it gets silly. But it's like, yeah, if you want to have them in your movie for 10 minutes so they can get violently murdered, like, that's perfect. That's a perfect fitting for those kind of characters.
Yeah, I feel like Polka Dot was a pretty cool character. Like they made his dumbass superpower look pretty cool and like seem cool. I
wish they showed more of that too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like I wish they would have played more on that, but I'm not gonna pick apart a movie for not showing more of a character when they're just complaining about how they show too much. Like I guess my lizard brain goes for the like, I love the, I guess like Blade Runner type aesthetic where it's just neon sci-fi Tron looking bullshit. When he's throwing up those polka dots in the jungle, I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, I really like that too.
I should also say that my critiques for this are mainly focused on like the first hour and a half. I like the last 45 minutes or so. I'm kind of guessing on the timeline, but like the first part of it I just felt was I really wasn't like
the final
vibing with it.
action set piece.
Not
or
really
whatever.
the final act. I mean, it wasn't just like that. It was spoilers starting now, I guess. It was like really where it started to take off for me was when Peacekeeper, or is it fucking
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. When Peacemaker and Rick Flag like fight over the hard drive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
like that part was where it turned for me, and I was like, okay, this is actually kind of like trending more towards like almost like Watchmen material. Or
I thought this.
Watchmen
Yeah.
vibe.
No. Yeah. I want to get into
But
that more.
before
But
that,
I
it
thought
was like it was really just like goofy. Like as hard as the first one went towards like edgy funny, this one was like goofy funny, like very Marvel goofy funny.
Yeah.
And that's where I was just like, it's just it's like too try hard to be like funny, I guess.
Yeah, I think I would say that like the dialogue did not make me laugh as much as like just the gratuitous violence. If they had like kept the dialogue to a bare minimum and then just had more Pete Davidsons getting their faces blown off, like best. Because I think for me, the first probably 45 minutes, I was like, okay, cool, introducing characters, kind of like basically a critique of the previous film, and then all the stuff in the middle, I just I feel like it slogged for me. There's definitely some fat that could have been trimmed. But yeah, much like you, near the end of the movie, like I think calling the first one like edgy for the sake of being edgy is good. And then this one, I'm like, oh, cool. Yes, Peter Capaldi, you're correct. Our government does do a lot of covert operations in other countries that we don't want anyone to know about. Yes, the CIA is bad. Like I was like, okay, yes, I am on board with this movie now.
Yeah, I had that. Huh.
There was something I forgot to write it down, but there was something I felt like that was a plot hole or didn't make sense with what Ric Flair wanted compared to what Peacekeeper wanted. With the hard drive, it was like Flag wanted it because he was tired of the government doing their shady ops, and then like John Cena wanted it because he wanted to like
keep the peace,
conflict from happening in America or something like that.
Yeah. So basically, like the information on the hard drive would have like exposed the U.S.'s involvement with this really heinous Project Starfish, and that's like they find out that's the entire reason that they were sent there was to, remove any evidence or whatever that the U.S. was involved.
Right.
But so once they found, like, Rick Flag didn't even know that was what was going to happen. So then when he was informed that by the Thinker, he was like, oh, well, I need to tell the world about this because this is really fucked up. This is where like the Watchmen play comes into hand. It's like he's Rorschach in a sense, being like, no, the world needs to know what Ozymandias did. And then Peacemaker is Dr. Manhattan being like, no, we can't let that get out no matter what, because then it'd be like, because then all hell would break loose.
Right.
We got to keep the peace.
Was John?
And then a giant aquatic sea creature comes down and destroys a city.
Yeah.
Was he acting on his own accord, or was that Waller's?
He was the Peacemaker was the secret katana in this movie.
Okay,
he was the failsafe.
I think I missed that because in my head it was like he was acting on his own accord. He wasn't doing it because Waller told him to. So I was like, that seems kind of extreme for him to just immediately jump to that. But the fact that Waller gave him
John
those orders
Hurt's character in Alien.
That's I read it like how Dagan you're saying it. I read it more like he was acting on his own accord. Maybe Waller like kind of expected him to do that in some sense.
That's what I think it was.
Yeah, I don't think she like directly told him. It's just that his whole thing is like he's all about peace, and you like the first part of the movie I was like, wait, why is this guy in prison? I must have missed it. Like, what did he do?
Yeah.
But it's because he's kind of like I was picturing him as like a MAGA, like a Trumper, being like he has
Kinda,
this
yeah.
like warped sense of
Oh.
justice. Like, oh, we
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
save this. Blue Lives Matter, but like even if that
yeah.
means like
Yeah, because
hundreds
he
of
does
people.
I don't care how
Yeah.
many
else
men,
die.
women, and children I need to kill to get it. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
that sums
There's
him
the
up.
scene where they go to save Harley,
fuck?
and he's like, let me know. I got someone. There's someone in the office. I'll take him out. You give me the sign, and then it shows who he's aiming at, and it's just like a secretary or something. It's like
Yeah, he just wants to
I
kill
think it's
anything.
yeah. He's just like he's not saying like, oh, there's this like woman who doesn't seem to really be involved in this whole plot, but like he doesn't explain that. He's just like, I got someone in my sights. He just like wants to
So
kill
shit,
everybody
yeah.
basically.
With that
Yeah.
too, the like my second. Well, I don't know. I think it was my first favorite. Because I do really like when they start fighting, when John Cena and Flag start fighting. But I really, really like when Bloodsport and John Cena
Yeah,
go through
dude.
that fucking like
Yeah.
the rebel.
That's
It also ends to
Oh,
be they were all
okay.
good guys. But
Never mind.
oh, you weren't talking about what
I like
part-
that scene, but I thought you were gonna go into the like showdown between Bloodsport and
Oh, okay,
Peacemaker
yeah.
is fucking sick.
Yeah,
Well,
that
it's
was
like
pretty fucking awesome.
The music, the drop, just the build up to it all is so good, and then
Yeah.
it's just no words, just an old fashioned like quick draw. It's
Yeah,
I
that
really
was
like that scene.
Small bullets.
I
Yeah.
do kind of like the not memento, but the time like how stuff is timed out.
Yeah,
It's like,
Like they
not
kind of
linear.
do like you see the end thing first at the very beginning, and then it goes back, and then there's some things where like they showed that John Cena thing, and it actually reminds me of one of Dave Chappelle's like recent stand-up specials where he's like, oh, I reach into this bowl and I grab a punchline, and then I try to like come up with a joke for the punchline, and then he like pulls out a punchline out of his pocket, and he's like, this is the one that I drew today, and he reads it out, and then he's like, you don't know when that's coming back, but it's gonna come back. And then he just starts talking for like 5-10 more minutes, and then the joke comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh shit, that's right, he said that earlier, the
that's
joke
awesome.
thing. So that's like what the John Cena thing when he was like pointing the gun at Ratcatcher, which I didn't even know that was her name until Isaiah told me that like today.
Ratcatcher 2.
And
that's like
and then,
yeah, I was
like,
gonna say too. Yeah,
she like he's dropping down, and I was like, when she like got like close, I was like, oh shit, that's right, John Cena's got a thing going on now. And it was that same kind of thing, like, oh man, okay. I did like how they did that. That's what I mean, like kind of around that areas where I like the peak of the movie for me. Like the last like boss fight it's fine, it's whatever.
Yeah.
boss fight.
But, like,
Yeah, I liked how they when sport starts falling, it's almost kind of like comical because it's just repetitive comedy, like, oh, hit the floor, drop again,
But
hit the
then
floor,
it-
drop again, and then when it gets to John Cena, it's like all of a sudden badass. It's like he with the way he drops
Yeah.
down on it, you're like, oh fuck.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just love that, like the simple exchange of like he's like, oh, I have to kill him now. Like
Yeah.
nothing. He's just like, all right, let's fucking do this.
Oh.
The rebel scene, the rebel camp when they're running through
Yeah, yeah.
that, like I really like the action in that, and it's almost
Yeah.
like it's
when they
I-
systematically murder everyone.
yeah, and it was like super dope. And I was like, instead of how in Suicide Squad where it's we have these people that are like mercenaries good with guns, and like like Deadshot, you just pretty much see him shooting guns, nothing really crazy. He doesn't bounce anything off walls. In this one, they kind of show off their specific weapons and
their
skills,
powers basically.
Yeah.
pretty much, and like that was very well done. I feel like you kind of show it off.
That scene had like the first, I wrote it down, it's the first part that I liked, where John Cena does the like that.
Oh,
he, like,
yeah.
shoots it, and then it like that's like that in and of itself is like, okay, whatever. But then it cuts to Bloodsport, and he's got the mask on and everything, but he actually goes like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
real
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was a
Yeah.
nice
I didn't even
touch.
catch that.
Yeah, They're very like laid backness when they're killing all those people. Like John Cena picks his nose at one point or something. I know that was like a very easy gag to do, but I thought that was like okay, yeah, you know.
I was way too focused
Then-
on the guy who was on fire and then got shot in the head.
Yeah.
I know, just a whole bunch of overkill for no reason.
Yeah, where he like shoots the table leg out so the like fan falls in the bathtub and like electrocutes the guy.
Electrocutes the
there's
guy.
seen who
That's a
can
good
kill better.
example of like if it was Deadshot, he would have just like it would have been off screen and he would have shot the dude in the head and it's like okay. But he's like oh no, watch this, and he trick shots. He's like, oh, you missed, and then it falls into the tub and electrocutes him.
See, this is the thing: is if it was the first Suicide Squad movie, that action scene would have happened, and we wouldn't remember anything that happens in it. We wouldn't remember any of the kills. We'd just be like, oh yeah, there was like gunshots, and we wouldn't even know why they did it. But now, in this one, it's like, oh, I know why they went to that camp and why they tried to kill those people, and I remember a lot of the good kills from it.
Yeah.
And then ending with like Polka Dot Man like shredding that tower.
That was fucking awesome. That was really cool because I didn't know what his thing was gonna be. Like I thought the polka dots were just pretty much like sharp cutters. I didn't know they were
like incendiary or something like that.
Yeah, incendiaries. I thought that was really cool. And oh yeah, like you know they showed a dick in this movie. You're gonna remember that. I mean,
yeah.
Did they?
The most pointless kill.
Yeah.
The most pointless like the dude's drinking coffee
in the camp.
with.
Yeah, it was in the camp.
Oh, Nick, you didn't see his dick?
No, I did see the one partial titty at the strip club scene.
Oh yeah, there's titties too. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that scene also when Polka Dot Man is dancing. I just thought of TJ. That looks so much like TJ dancing in a club like that.
Sweet. Sweet.
Dude's dick was
I like
out
Polka
though.
Dot Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
not
Yeah,
like
you didn't watch
either.
You didn't watch the extended cut. The dude goes to a blood sport and he's like asking for
The
you know, some
Milos-
money. And
Milos Forman
missed-
guest directed that scene from
Yeah.
the grave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you missed the big Mo titties.
yeah.
Yeah.
They pretty much
kinda-
showed John Cena's dingle in his
Oh,
underwear.
no,
that
How
was,
real was
that
that,
was
though?
like
How
a
fucking
prosthetic.
real was
I
that?
thought. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
that. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure that was
I
a
mean,
prosthetic.
Probably.
That part,
They got the
That
fake
part-
dick from the end of Boogie Nights, and
yeah.
that part pissed me off, and that it actually kind of reinforces my like MAGA connection to Peacemaker, where he was like, they were like tidy whities, and he was like, "That's racist."
Yeah.
Like, shut
Oh
the
yeah, that
fuck
was
up.
a stupid joke. That was. So
And then there
stupid.
was another one right around there where somebody's like, "Millennials." I think Peacemaker says that
He
one.
says
Oh,
that.
yeah, you know he
No.
does. I literally I
So
wrote that in all
cringe.
caps in my notes. I was like, "Oh, fucking millennials, yeah, good fucking joke,
Yeah.
bro."
But
Yeah,
I
it's
think
so
that's
cringe.
like the idea, like, because a big reason I like this movie a lot, other than like the silly, goofy violence, all that. I would agree that like I do think most of the humor is more in like action and not. There's good like funny like lines or whatever that would like get like chuckles out of me, but I would say for the most part I would agree with you guys. Although I will say, I'm pretty sure the hardest I laughed the first time I watched, which I guess you could call, it's partly like dialogue, but not. It was when, I don't know why, I think it was just like funny seeing King Shark like swear, but it's when he's like doing like, oh, I can do a disguise, and then they're like, no, that's not gonna work, and then he goes, fuck.
Yeah.
Just the way they does that, I thought it was really funny.
I know.
remember-
I had a few giggles, but I think that one actually kind of made me like the like uncontrollable kind of like laugh a little bit because I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was gonna swear.
see,
I
I
don't
guess
know.
I chalked up a lot of those like kind of cringy like jokes. I guess a lot of the Peacemaker jokes, I chalked that up to like, okay, well, we can have like the ultra violence that's like very funny, but also at the end of the day, we're making a DC movie and it's a comic book movie, so like you have to have that like very easily understood like lowest common denominator, not meaning it in like a derogatory way, but it's like you
Right.
got to have that like I guess Joss Whedon or James Gunn like sense of humor where it's like after they wipe out the village and then she's like, oh, where did all my friends go? They're like, oh, there wasn't anyone. They must have. It's just like that. Like here's the punchline, but then over explaining it like too long.
Yeah. I mean, I would give James Gunn like not that's not a Whedon, because like that's how he's always been. Like he did trauma videos or trauma movies before he was doing Marvel. Like
Oh, okay.
or like even Slither and Super. Like he's always been this kind of director. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is him like scaled back. This felt like an old James Gunn movie.
Yeah, the only thing of James Gunn I've seen is this and Guardians 1.
Guardians.
So like I haven't really seen a lot of his other stuff. So I guess my only frame of reference is movies. I guess is like that style of humor.
I felt King Shark was like kind of like a tool that's in like pretty much every kids movie where there's like just the dumb character who just is dumb. And it was kind of like I felt like every time he was on the screen I'm like, oh, okay, so this is like the Facebook Minions memes of this movie or something, where it's just like
I think they typecast for
oh,
him.
well, mustache.
It's like Groot,
Sylvester.
or it's like
I have
Groot
that
is the obvious comparison.
Shark
or
is Groot, yes.
I feel like even John Cena's character was kind of like the other. I don't know any of the characters from Guardians of the Galaxy, but the one guy that's like very literal.
Chris
who's
Drax is it?
Yeah, like there were a few scenes where like when King Shark made the little like detonation that was like, oh, it's you, and he's like, that looks nothing like me. Like, I guess
I can see
like,
that being kind of like Draxy. Yeah,
nothing goes over my head. Like he's very like dry.
They
to
really
that point.
just typecast Sly for that. Like I mean, that's pretty much just Sly. He didn't even have to act for that. That's just how he is all the time.
There's literally a part where it's like, fish are friends, not food, where he like picks up Ratcatcher and he's gonna eat her, and then he's like, ugh, and he just starts shooting them, and it's like, friend, no food.
Yeah.
They're trying to capture that Vin Diesel Groot.
His skin was like really well done though. That scene when he's like, he has to get like, who the fuck shoots him? Bloodsport like shoots him, and he's like leaning on the tree, and they kind of have that close up between him and Ratcatcher. Yeah, the same scene. Like that CGI, it looks to me it looked really fucking good. Like his skin.
I thought it looked really nice.
Yeah, I guess I don't know, because I don't know what my expectations were set for. I don't know. It just felt like it looked better than really any CGI I've seen, but you can't really compare that to anything when it's fucking a giant shark skin.
Yeah.
One thing I'm glad that they, I don't think they did it, but like, there's nothing with King Shark and like swimming, which I'm so glad that they didn't just like, because they kind of did that with Doc Croc or whatever his name is. Killer Croc.
Dr. Croctopus.
Like when they're going up, they're like in the subway and they're like, I got this. I bought. I live down there. And then he just like does this weird like waddle crawl thing down. It's like, no, we don't need to see that. Like, it was just bad. So I'm glad they didn't do that with King Shark and didn't just like, he didn't do anything and then all of a sudden, oh, there's water. I almost thought they were gonna do it when he shows up and there's like that big fish tank and he's like, and he's like playing with those like jellyfish things, and I was like, oh great, here we go. Here comes the shark part. He's gonna be swimming.
Yeah, I feel like that was like another example of like
you're criticizing it for being like, can't have the fish guy swim.
No, I'm just saying because like he doesn't really. I guess he ends up. I'm just saying that like, kind of in the way that like, they do it with like Bloodsport. It's just like, of course, like the people who it's like the original Batman, where it's like the original Batman movie where he like the helicopter's flying over like the bay or whatever, and Batman's on the ladder and dips him in, and there's a shark on his leg, and he's like, quick, the bat shark repellent,
and
then
shark repellent bat spray.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you just happen to have. It's just like, it's just weird how like they have characters with these very specific powers, and they have to get these very specific like. Maybe that is a nitpick, but it's like,
yeah, but that wasn't King Shark. That was just a shark.
Wait, what? What are you saying? No, I think he's talking about
like they have to get like these convoluted situations to
use the powers.
Yeah, I mean, I would defend the Adam West Batman as being like that again.
No,
like that is what that's the whole, like, every
Yes.
episode of that is
It's
like they have
kitschy.
the exact
Yeah.
they have the exact thing
Yeah,
they
no.
need to get
That
out
was
of it every
done
season.
like intentional, like as
Yeah.
a specific joke. No, I'm not ripping that. I'm just saying I kind of hate I think more and more because it's so many comic book movies at this point, but like these guys that have like super specific powers and then they get into these super specific situations to be able to use those powers, I think is what I'm trying to get at. And they didn't just like they used King Shark in other ways than just like he's the swimming guy, like
Okay.
you're a Pokemon trainer and you're going to the water gym, so you have all electric guys.
They
kinda
used him
thing.
more than King Croc, which was not at all.
Yeah,
Like Killer
and-
Croc
Yeah,
just
for
was like
real.
in the like they could have saved so much
Yeah.
money on their CGI budget by like just not having him in it because he didn't do shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't even
and
think
the
they
part
use
that
CGI
they do,
for Killer Croc. They just fucking use shitty makeup.
They just
Yeah.
found an ugly guy.
I mean,
Yeah.
King Killer Croc is like he's like the exact kind of what I'm saying. Like, oh,
Yeah,
there
very
happens to be
specific.
water,
Yeah,
and oh, here he
Yeah.
hasn't done. He does literally nothing, and then like, oh, there's the water thing, and he goes in
Yeah.
there and like.
Well, I
that's
think
it.
I don't know. I guess like to circle it all back, I feel like that's the whole like thesis of this movie that is like constantly subverting. And I guess it does help that like the original Suicide Squad was so shitty that like this movie has so many like subversions of what you like the intro scene. You think, okay, Suicide Squad, yep, here's the new cast, and then they all just get domed. They all just get
Yeah.
annihilated, like ripped apart. And it's like I don't know. There's so many like I guess you could call them instead of Chekhov's gun, you can call him James's gun. But
Oh,
it's like all these things, little things that get introduced and then are like answered later. Just
Yeah.
this whole I feel like, but yeah, like the King Shark part. You think he's gonna go in the water, and then it turns out like the little jellyfish are actually like bad and like chew him up and like are actually hurt. Like there's so many times where you think it's gonna go one way and then it completely subverts it. Whereas like I feel like the original Suicide Squad would have just done like the obvious thing, and that's why it was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I had like a roller coaster when they did that. Like they introduced them and killed them, and I was like, okay, cool. Like they're, you get to know them a little bit, and they kill them, and they immediately like flash back, and I'm like, oh, like that kind of ruined it. Like they're still gonna be in most of the movie, but then really it was just a quick like, here's a catch
Just-
up, and then
Yeah.
still
I
we're
think
only in that.
you see Pete Davidson for like a shot, and then you see the Weasel for a shot, and I think that's
and then
like
you see
basically
Pete
it.
Davidson again for a shot.
Oh, I mean,
Well,
do you mean like when
he
they?
sees a shot too.
when
I'm
they're, like,
saying
dead or
his
whatever?
shot. He gets shot in the
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like
so I
this-
was like, yeah, I agree with that. I was happy that they didn't like reverse on their like, oh, we'll show you the end of the movie and everybody's dead
Yeah.
or dies.
Oh,
and
Yeah.
I see
we'll
what-
still have them in the whole movie. Type of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
see what
he
you're
looked
saying.
like he looked like the old man from Midsummer when he falls off the
Pete Davidson.
when he gets shot in the face. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys have seen Midsummer, but like there's a part in that movie, it's like a ritual thing where like the elders jump off the cliff, and it's like he doesn't die, and so someone has to come over with a giant hammer and like put him out of his misery, and they just like
Smash his face.
and it's just like that's kind of like what Pete Davidson looked like, with just like you can see part of his face but it's just blown off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
Surprisingly
or,
like grotesque.
or like the girl from Hereditary when she sticks her head out the window and
Oh,
Oh
God.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Oh.
that
fucking
kind
awesome.
of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
that rule, that was awesome.
This
I said that
this,
sarcastically because that haunts my
I know.
nightmares still.
Yeah.
this is a little bit of a diversion, but I don't really remember from the comics or not, but I think that Waller just like sucks, and like not in like a Dolores Umbridge from like Harry Potter where she's like she is supposed to suck. She's basically supposed to be a villain.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I just think the actor or like the decision that they made to like how to portray that character is just so fucking boring. Like it's like she's trying to like bore you to she's like, we gotta go and get these guys, and she's just like her eyes are she's just like so disinterested in the entire thing. She's like a disinterested like detention like study hall like teacher who's just like sitting up there like substitute teacher just like zoning out and waiting for the bell to ring.
I sort of interpreted that as like, and maybe this might be a little too heady or like, reading into it, but I feel like that was in some way supposed to like exemplify like the banality of like the covert ops that the CIA do, because like the way that they had like all like the bearded dude that worked, that was like they're all in that office. For them, it was just like going to like a 9 to 5 job. Like they were gonna clock in at 9 a.m., clock out at 5 p.m., and like their job, which is like doing harm and evil to the world, is like incredibly banal. Like, oh, you're taking your 30-minute lunch. Okay, I'll come back. You want to get coffee, and then like, but while they're sitting at their computers, like doing horrific shit around the world.
Yeah.
And so I guess I felt like Waller's character kind of represented that, just like, yep, another day at the office, another, overthrowing a regime in another country and like meddling in their foreign affairs. Yep.
That's kind of how I took it too. I mean, I think I really like Viola Davis too. I think she's good. She's one of those characters who can play something like really monotone and whatever, but still come across as like, it's like kind of scary in a way. Like, I don't know. I dug her.
She also like wasn't in it for like an hour.
Yeah. They don't
which
they
is
don't
good
like
because I didn't like her. I mean, she does like the same thing. She has like the same portrayal in like the first one too. So it's not like something they changed, but like I like
She gets more worked up in this one. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
the whole
there is that
first movie,
scene.
she is just like there's like
Mhm.
no change.
it's just like super flat, and like I guess maybe like you were saying, Nick, maybe that was like intentional, like it's so boring, but like everybody else seems to be like, I don't know, I guess, I mean, that's maybe the decision, but like there wasn't, for me at least, there wasn't that like I said with like Dolores Umbridge. She's kind of like she's like one of those characters that like you hate, but you not in like a you love to hate them kind of way. Like I really don't like her, but it's like it's good. It's like good that way though. And she has these little quirks that make you just like like the little laugh, and you're just like every time you hear that, it just like fucking pisses you off.
Yeah.
And I guess like Waller is just so flat that it's just like she's the Will Smith of this movie, where she just made
Whoa.
Well, I mean,
okay, listen, they exchanged Idris Elba for Will Smith, and I'm okay with that. Like that's the only exchange I can take. You know what I mean? That's the only way you can make up for Will Smith. But with Waller, I feel like that was for me. That was like the definition of writing matters, because they really just had like Waller was the same character pretty much, and well, I mean they all were, but to a T, she was the same character, but then just better done in the Suicide Squad, because the first one, or not the first one, but in Suicide Squad, it feels like she's just kind of the bossy, whatever, bland. That's how I felt in that one, but in this one you get more of a sense or tone of a bad good guy type of thing, where she'll do really fucked up shit but kind of need her in order to get the thing done. And you get more of that sense in this one.
Again, yeah, it's like it's the same character, but I feel like it's again based on, if you're directly comparing it to the previous movie, it's much more, despite how flat her like characters, like her person, I feel like it's more fleshed out despite how flat it is. Like her motive, and the other one, it seems like she's just reading a script. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is my character because these lines say that. But like I feel like in this movie it's more fleshed out. It's more understood. Like, oh, okay, like she's trying to keep these secrets.
She's a little more straightforward in this one too, because with Bloodsport, when she's saying, it would be a real shame if your daughter came here to the highest mortality rate prison. But with Will Smith's daughter, she's just kind of like, know your daughter. That was it.
The first one was also scared to like make her a villain. It was like, well, but she works for the government. She can't be that bad, right?
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like every time, everybody else is like, maybe this whole thing is kind of fucked up. You're not actually gonna like blow their heads up, right? You're not actually gonna do that.
Although in this one, she does it to like two different people, where she's like the Yandu, whatever his name is,
Savant.
the savant. He like she hesitates so long before killing him.
Well,
Like she
it is
hesitates.
a last
No,
measure.
I know, but think back to the first one where there's the Native American guy and
It's
like she kills him right away.
It's because there's no thought put into that first movie where they're just like, yeah, we got to have somebody's head blow up. So let's have this guy come in for one scene, and then in the next scene his head's going to explode. But this one, even though it gives weight to the actions, if you make something like, oh, she's going to kill somebody, it's not going to be just like, boom.
No, I understand.
Like, yeah. No, I'm just saying.
I was saying no. I was saying that you were saying the first one didn't want to make her a villain, but I'm saying in that sense, it seemed like this one, she was like so hesitant, and then the first one she was like, bang. And I realize it's because the first one is shit, but
yeah, I'm saying that like I don't think that the first. I guess what I should have said is like I don't think the first movie thought that made her a villain as much. It's just like, hey, these are the rules. They're criminals, so who gives a shit? Yeah. You know, if they don't follow the rules, kill them. But in this, it actually is like, well, okay, yes, they are criminals, but they're still human beings. So I think it is a hard decision.
I think
even for a psychopath.
Because I think in the first one, the dude is like literally just trying to escape.
Yeah.
In the second one, he's like, he just watched basically all of his like comrades get eviscerated.
Yeah.
And he's like in a very futile effort, like trying to swim away. And she's like, come on. I mean, she's basically forcing his death anyway, because if he swims back to that island, he's getting destroyed.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think she recognized at least that this time it was like an act of desperation instead of trying to like escape.
In this one, it made it like the blow up button made a lot more sense, rather than just having it on a smartphone and you press the face and they just explode.
Yeah.
It was like an actual
on like a wrist, like.
Well, no, it was either their smartphone or some type of small device, and it was like one touchscreen button. This one had like the actual physical suitcase where you have to flip the switch and then press the button. It made a lot more sense. If you're gonna pay all this money to get these people out of fucking federal prison, and then just you could accidentally like butt dial the neck bomb and have them explode.
Oh. I had like a lag in my brain, like hearing what you just said. Yeah, but I got you now. It just took me a second to like.
I was like, I thought you guys cut out for a second because it was so quiet.
No, I think I got messed up because your like video was lagging behind you, so I was like watching. Your mouth was still moving, but you had finished talking, and it like threw me off. It was really weird.
Is it caught up now, or is it still lagging?
It's still lagging
a tiny bit.
But I'm aware of it now, so it's not as weird for me, I guess, or whatever.
Okay.
So there's the part, I guess two things, but there's the part where Harley is escaping. First off, I guess Quentin Tarantino like guest directed that scene where she like grabs the keys with her feet and unlocks it and all that shit.
I thought of that too, yeah, the feet thing, yeah.
And then I guess there's the part where it like just starts showing like flowers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really pay attention to it I was just like, okay, whatever, they're doing some flower thing, whatever. And I guess Isaiah was like doing some research into it, and he said that like somebody was saying that it was like that's how she sees, like whenever she commits like an act of violence, that's what she sees. So that's why she's so like enamored with like violence, is because to her it literally is beautiful.
Literally, that's what I wrote in my notes. It says flowers for no reason ? Is it showing what blood is to her? Like that's what I have written in my notes, because it didn't make sense at first. I was like, why the fuck are they just going into cartoon zone with her? And then I realized it was kind of like the blood spray. And I was like, oh, that's why she's so romantic and happy with violence, is because in her head everything is just a happy cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they dialed back like the I'm Harley Quinn and I'm
Oh, yeah.
crazy. Like,
Yeah,
And her ass wasn't hanging out, and like they
I
treated
will-
her kind of like a
well, let's not
regular
go that far.
character,
I'm sorry.
an actual human.
I will definitely say that, like, yeah, I like before having seen this one, I was like, I hate Harley Quinn. She's terrible in Suicide Squad, just like everyone else, and like her Birds of Prey movie, which that was the one that I did also end up watching that I was gonna bring up. I'll just mention it here really quick that like because somebody said something else that like Charles was saying that like Suicide Squad is like leagues better than the first one. Like I would also say that about Birds of Prey, but I also gave it a 3 out of 10. Like it was fucking terrible, but it was like compared to the original Suicide Squad, it's still like leaps and bounds better. But she like her character in that is like god awful. Like it's terrible. Like she's made. I think she's even worse in the than I think she is the worst in Birds of Prey. Like even like her character specifically is worse in Birds of Prey than in the original Suicide Squad. But what I'm getting to saying is that like I wasn't looking forward to her, and I will say her part I would say is like the lull for me. I like her breakout. I like the flat. Like that's a really cool sequence
where she just
you know,
shot that dude in the gut after like making love to him. Yeah, just like, yeah, sorry, you're crazy.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, I can't believe there's a bullet in this gun." Because I thought like the exact same thing right when she. See, but... I think she's like that character, like how she portrays it, and like everything she does. Like I think she's really like kind of perfect for that role, and like it's good. Like she's good. It's just that like Harley, like, and Harley Quinn just kind of as a character kind of sucks, like in general.
Mostly,
I think.
Yeah. But the point that I was getting at is that like she's still not my favorite. I mean, like I want to get back around to this eventually, but like because I was getting towards this a long time ago, but then we kept getting sidetracked. But like a big reason I really love this movie is because all of the main crew, the main new, like I'm not counting. I mean, I like Harley and Flag in this too. But the reason I really, really like this movie is I think all 4 or 5 of the main Suicide Squad are like such strong characters. I think they're written really well. I love that they follow, you know, they're never like, ooh, super random. Like they always follow, you know, why they're doing everything they do and everything. Mm-hmm. But I think they're really strong. But next to them, I liked Harley a lot more than I thought I was going to. But
same with
those little I was just gonna say the little parts where it goes off to her where like there's little moments like I was kind of like, oh fuck, she just shot that guy, and like the flower fight. But like those were the big lulls in the movie for me, where like it was like meanwhile Harley, and then it's like 10-15 minutes on her, and I was like, okay, but I just want to get back to the other guys. I like them more.
I was gonna say it's amazing how much a different haircut can make me feel about Rick Flag. Like I felt like he was such a better character this time around, and it wasn't because he had his hair slicked back like a real piece of shit.
Yeah,
like
a real that's why. Yeah, yeah. You were one of those babies when you were younger, so you can tell.
There was a part like in the same scene, like in that flower scene for Harley Quinn, when she like right after she escaped and got the keys, and she had that long dress on. And I was like, that's not gonna stay on long. Like, there's gonna be something stupid that happens where like a part of her dress is because that happen not just because it's Harley Quinn and it's a superhero movie, but in like every action movie, if there's ever like a female character that's about to get in a fight or in an action scene, dress always gets ripped off, and it's always like, you gotta expose them thighs, baby. It seems like it happens so much, and like this one was a little
to get
less.
Your shirt off.
One was a little less like, I guess, exposed because she just ripped a little portion of it to fight a dude with a knife, but still the fact that it had to get ripped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. James Gunn went the Quentin Tarantino route and had her do everything with her feet.
That's what Charles
same with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
We said that when you're on your break.
Oh damn it!
Sorry,
I'm editing that
out. No, he's just gonna
You're editing, Travis.
Yeah, flip the part so I say it here and you say it earlier. So then
okay, there we go.
And I wasn't even out of the room. Shit. Now I forgot what I was gonna say, but it was about Harley and that just not enough ass and butt.
Right.
But
Yeah.
no, there was something else, but I can't remember.
I thought
It was something that actually pissed me off. Oh, okay. I just remembered. It's that whole part where she gets the dress on and they're doing the makeup and shit, and she's in the back of the limo, and then she like looks at a mirror that's clearly been right in front of her this entire car ride, and she goes, "I'm beautiful," and I'm like, that mirror's been there this entire fucking
That's
time.
it, I'm a princess.
Or yeah, princess, whatever. I just hate how she like didn't see the mirrors the entire time, and then she's just like, I'm a princess. I don't know. I just thought that was like, just like have them pull the mirror up. I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
little thing, but it's just kind of almost
I
like a
don't know, I think-
continuity thing.
I think that's one of those moments that could have been also done visually. Like, I think that's like a big thing that like bugs me in movies when it's like you can tell this people when I guess what I'm trying to say is like when like studios or directors think that their audience is dumb and they need someone to like literally say the dialogue of like what they're thinking, where it's like you could have easily conveyed that thought of her like looking at herself in the mirror and like realizing that she's beautiful without her saying like I'm a like to the audience like do you understand? I'm like reflecting on myself and realizing that I have beauty as well. Like I think that's something that you can tell. I don't know, that might be too much of a nitpick. I'm thinking of like, you know, like the Blade Runner when they have like Harrison Ford go in and like do narration to tell you how his character is thinking because they didn't think audiences would understand it visually. And it's like that's I think that's another one of those. There's like an every frame of painting YouTube video where they're like talking about like I think it's a scene in Captain America when he goes to it's like a museum that's about him.
Oh.
And like
Yeah.
there's like a bunch of like there's a bunch of like like when you go to a museum and there's like you're now entering the world of dinosaurs and it's like the dinosaurs were blah blah blah, but there's like a scene where like he's like wearing a ball cap and like a jacket and he's like trying to blend in, and it's like you can hear this like announcer voice telling you all about Captain America and all the amazing things, and then they kind of recut it where they took all of that out and only put like the music of it, and it's like, oh, I totally understand this entire scene and I don't need any of like the narration or like dialogue to tell me exactly what's going on. That's a that's a huge tangent off of a mirror shot with Harley Quinn. I understand.
No, they definitely didn't need that because like her acting was good enough in that scene where if they just would have taken out that line, you just see her kind of looking at the mirror for a second and tearing up. Like that's all you need. Given, I mean, the directors usually are correct. Most viewers are pretty fucking dumb. So
Well,
it's like,
well, it's if it's a DC movie for DC audiences, then I guess maybe they do need that little push.
Well, and Travis was more about like just the fact that the mirror was
The logic of the
presumably
movie or
already
whatever.
there.
Yeah, like continuity.
like-
Like it was there. She hadn't noticed it before.
I had to finish
I
pull
do,
it up
and
for you.
a foot
I
in
do
front of
think-
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that like not most of the time stuff doesn't. I don't think that line like breaks that rule. Like I
No.
think that's fine that's just like a little reaction of hers, but mostly
Yeah.
I do agree.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I know what you're saying, Nick. I agree with you, but also I guess I can see it the other way in this specific case, only because like it kind of is like the setup. It's the head bomb exploding thing for that like kind of like sets up the next scene where it's kind of believable that she's like gonna marry this guy before she shoots him. Kind of like, oh wait, I'm pretty. I'm a princess. I can marry any guy I want. It doesn't just have to be the Joker. It can be anybody. It helps you maybe kind of suspend belief, but like you could also do that without her actually saying that. She doesn't have to.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, if you look around when you go like walking downtown, down any city in America, I mean, I could also see where you'd have to be like, yeah, we're gonna have to have that line in there. I think. Just like average American is probably it's average American is Mac from It's Always Sunny, where he has to like explain everything to him.
There it is.
Like, yep, there it is.
Now I'm not talking about. I will say comic book Starro is a bit more malevolent, but movie version. Do you guys feel kind of bad for Starro? I feel kind of bad for Starro.
I thought you said Sbarro at first, like the pizza place.
Sbarro's
Sbarro's.
Pizza.
It's like,
You know, a lot of malls in
wait,
America
what?
are closing, and I feel really bad for Sbarro's
How-
as a brand. They're really
Yeah.
floundering.
They
But,
really
like-
tried to like jumpstart it with the comic version of Sbarro, but like
Yeah,
nobody wanted that shit
breaks
either.
He breaks out of Jotunheim and some giant pizza.
Yeah.
The little ones are like pan pizzas on people's faces.
Pepperonis,
versus-
they're
Yeah, yeah, little
Oh, they're
pepperonis.
pepperonis.
But yeah, he was just floating in space, picked up by some astronauts, and then held captive and experimented on for 30 years. And then he breaks out and like, I'm not saying he he killed a bunch of people, but he's basically like an animal, and like he just breaks out and he's like, yeah, I want to fuck some shit up because you guys, I don't know who you are. You're basically like an alien race that has kept me captive for decades. And now I'm like, yeah, I got out. I want to I don't know. I just feel kind of bad for him.
Well,
And then as he's dying, he's like, I was happy in
Yeah.
space.
Oh yeah.
Just look,
And then
I
he
was happy.
dies. I'm like,
I was
"Oh,
happy. That was like I was happy just floating in space, looking at the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, that his whole character honestly was better than any character in Suicide Squad. The first one, like
Dagan-
his whole dynamic.
Dagan, I literally Starfish is a better fleshed out character than Enchantress is one of my notes.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
That's
Yeah.
like-
I forgot if this actually happened or if it was just in my head, but like the whole thing where like the baby starfish like go on to the faces, basically do like a face hugger type thing.
Yeah.
Do they like when Sbarro dies, do those things fall off and the people are alive?
No.
Or
Oh, they're all
okay.
dead.
No, they're dead.
I really thought
the
that's
thinker-
where it was gonna go, like especially after like I was happy looking at the start, and it's like, oh, it's depressing that they killed this guy who just wanted peace, basically, and then I thought they were gonna be like, oh, well, that's done, and turn around and like all the people are like peeling the starfish off their faces, and they're like,
No.
oh shit,
Right.
we just killed a bunch of people because we like shot all these like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
I
pretty
said
that's
dark
where I
either
thought it was
way.
gonna go. Yeah.
But
I
no,
just thought
yeah,
it would be like they like went to save these people, but then they ended up killing like a lot of them themselves. Is kind of what I.
that's
was
like
yeah.
a lot of what the Thinker's like experiments were, where like he shows all the people that he's like cut open, and like he's just like, no, they're dead.
There's
Yeah,
there's
say-
like a dude with
they're
like a
essentially
half
zombies.
torso.
Yeah,
Or
he
like the
does
one that
say-
like the star is like off of his face, and like he has like missing like an imprint basically, or like
Yeah.
his face
He's-
is carved out in the
he's
shape
got
of
the
a star.
he's got the Pete Davidson but star
Yeah,
version.
pretty much. Yeah.
See,
he does
I-
say
that's
that like
fucked up.
they're all
Yeah,
just
that-
corpses. He says they're all corpses underneath there.
Yeah.
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 But see, that was when Sbarro was still alive, and then I thought like maybe once Sbarro died that like it
Yeah.
would be potentially be different.
I kind of have thought that too. Like he was just saying that because he's not, the Thinker wasn't planning on killing him.
Yeah, and you also didn't know that like, oh well, as of right now, these people are all dead, but like,
Yeah.
and those people probably are dead, but like the fresh
the new
fresh people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, yeah, he did kill a lot of people. He's essentially like a gigantic space parasite, but like I'm just saying he didn't ask for that.
And you know who could have saved a lot more people is fucking
Deadshot.
Polka Dot Man.
Dude,
No, Polka Dot Man,
dude.
because he went
Yeah.
through the fucking ankle. Like,
Yeah,
this
like
one's
that-
for you. No, Dad. What about you? From like Breakfast Club, but then he's like, I'm gonna hurt your ankle, and then it like falls over on him. Like, okay. It
I
doesn't
was
fall
like-
over, but-
I was so mad at that because I was like, wait, he could have been doing that shit the whole time. If he would have just immediately just shot some shit right in the middle of Star-Lord's eye, it would have been all right.
I got the impression that he
Oh,
had a
shit.
finite amount of polka dots, like
Me too.
because
Yeah.
like the way that they like infected his face, he's like, I have to like expel them twice a day or else I die. So it
Yeah.
seemed like almost like D&D spell slots or whatever. He had to,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's a good
he had to
idea.
wait a while for them to regenerate and then he could use it again. Like it wasn't just something he could.
I mean, but then
expel
me,
whenever
I'm
he
a
wanted
dumb
to.
Yeah.
I'm a dumb DC fan. I need that explained to me.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But even if it's limited, okay. So I mean, we
It's like
made
when you
the
don't
joke.
jerk off for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
And
eat
then
me
and then your
alive.
and then your penis gets
if
these
I don't
white
come
like
twice a day, I will die.
yeah,
Yeah.
or else you'll get these white like blisters on your
That's
penis
like-
And everyone looks
balls.
like my mom.
That's like
Yeah.
Team America. Kind of reminds me of the I'm only gonna have sex with you if you promise me you'll never die. I will never die.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, okay. If they're limited, like when it first came out, when Sbarro first came out, or you first see him, it's like, okay, so that's the bad guy. And you're like, oh, it like that Zelda thing of like, oh, I wonder where this guy's weak point is. Oh,
Oh.
it's his eye, right? So like, why would you ever? I mean, maybe you could make the excuse because like, oh, he saw his mom, he didn't know where to like shoot. but
Where
I
to
think,
aim or whatever.
yeah, but like, I would still think you're not gonna go for the ankle. Like, it's not like it's the mythical hero Achilles. It's you go for the heart. Like,
I kind of think of it as like you don't know. Like, do you guys know how starfish actually operate? Because they don't just have like a centralized like nervous like
no,
They have
but
a nervous system in each
are-
leg.
real starfish are terrifying. As
Yeah.
I learned even
Oh,
more
yeah.
from that SpongeBob creepypasta that I sent
That's
you.
the first thing
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of what he does is like it's just a more like heightened version of how starfish actually are. Like
Yeah.
they're fucking scary.
But
Yeah.
where would you aim if you had that? If you had one shot like that, where would you aim? Like,
See,
I
I
mean,
interpreted
I
it
think
as
10 out of
him like
10
trying to stop him
DC
from like
fans-
moving. Like he was like tearing through the city,
yeah,
shot him
that's
in the
true.
ankle to like
Yeah.
slow him down or make him trip and fall, like prevent him from
Yeah,
moving
if-
further.
And
you know
also-
what also would help is him being blind if he didn't have an eye.
well, it was
Also-
his
Okay,
mom.
here's the thing though: is
Also, he
sees his
doesn't like
mom.
killing people. He says that, and
He
like
sees his mom too. So it's like you don't see like you could do a headshot on the mom, but then that would just take off the top fucking nervous system of that starfish. I think it made sense because yeah, he's trying to slow him
Art.
down. He has a select amount of polka dots, and he goes for the ankle.
and
take him
I
down.
can as long as like the rest of the movie is like competent. Like if this was in the original Suicide Squad, I would probably be more on board with like, yeah, this is dumb. Everything, all this action is dumb. But like to me, I think it's more just like I can chalk something like that up in a pretty well written movie. Like you could say that the character just it was his. I have adrenaline pumping. I'm in the middle of a fight. I'm just gonna point and shoot.
Also,
pretty
they're kind
much.
of like thrusted into this situation where like they're not used to being like crime fighters or
They're especially thrust
otherworldly
into the-
alien.
Especially that, like they had no idea like what that was until it busted out of the facility or whatever.
Bust out.
Bust out, yeah.
Bussin'.
But okay, yeah. The thing I wanted to eventually wrap around back to was the thing with Peacemaker and like the millennial joke, that stuff. I also don't think that's funny, but I give that shit like that a pass because it all just like it fits his character of being like he's the ultimate patriot. He's the ultimate like old school. Sorry.
Yeah, he's not vaxxed.
Yeah, exactly. he's the ultimate old school like boomer patriot. So of course he like, and that's like through the whole movie. I'm like, man, I really like all of these characters. I love Ratcatcher. I love King Shark. I love Bloodsport. I love Polka Dot Man, and I was like, I really like Peacemaker too. But I was like, oh, but he's like saying like he's like you know, when they're at the bar, he's like, "Hey, chica," you know, comprende,
Oh yeah.
like doing that sort of like that's what like old white people talk like. And then it's
Yeah.
like I like him, but he does like some cringe shit like that that's really weird. And then at the end, you're like, oh, okay, maybe that's kind of like setting you up to like it's really subtle, but was like, oh, okay, like I can forgive that cringy stuff because like in the end, he's a bad guy essentially. He like goes against them. So like you're not supposed to think he's super cool because
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said that, like I realized that the whatever he said in his underwear, or it's like that's racist, and then he also
That's
said the
racist, yeah.
millennial thing. We were
Yeah.
talking about that earlier. That's when I kind of realized, like, oh yeah, they're just building his character as like those are purposely bad, cringy jokes, so you can. I mean, he's not the only one who has cringy jokes, but his are like
Sure.
the most blatantly cringy. They're building the character so the audience is like, oh yeah, this guy's fucking stupid.
I would say as
Maybe,
much as I like Harley, otherwise she probably has the most cringy jokes still.
Maybe they had Rob Liefeld do the cinematography because I feel like you don't see his feet at all. But I guarantee if you did, Peacemaker would be wearing like fresh white New Balances throughout the entire.
He kind of does. Yeah, when he's in the like the bar, he kind of does have that vibe of like, I mean, it's ill-fitting, but he has the like the lawyer from like Arkansas, the two like the lawyer people who like the one dude with the assault rifle and the girl with the stripe.
yeah,
The hamburglar top with the handgun, and they were pointing
Oh,
at the Black Lives Matters protesters. I think it's from
Oh
Arkansas.
Jesus, those guys!
Definitely
forgot
has
about
that
them.
like whole
Yeah.
vibe, like that vibe.
Yeah.
And when he puts the helmet on, still in that outfit.
Yeah.
yeah, it's that whole vibe, like to a T.
I wish they just stayed in those the rest. I really like their like bar like get ups and stuff. Those are good.
Yeah.
I did really like King Shark's like swimming trunks in the final scene. Like there's a part where Bloodsport like he's like monster is nom nom, and he's like, and then he like runs after him, and like I just like his like little waddle in the swimming trunks.
I also had based Peter Capaldi written down when he was like
Yeah.
explaining to them about like oh yeah, your government does this shit all the time. Like
Yeah.
I thought Peter
Yeah, I
Capaldi
really
was like pretty good in this too.
I
Yeah.
love Peter Capaldi
Yeah.
in pretty much like everything. He's one of those dudes who's like not a super big name, but he's pretty much like fire in everything I see him in. I started watching Doctor Who again when he was the Doctor.
Right.
And then I stopped when he wasn't.
When you say fire, are you talking Suicide Squad 1 fire word, or like the Suicide Squad fire? What kind of fire are you talking?
What?
Big difference.
The
Are you
second
saying like
one?
is he fire at like levels as in
Like spelling
Fair
out the
use.
words
Like-
or something
Yeah,
like that?
which one is he like?
Yeah, on the second one, I guess.
I guess they both did have a bar scene. Although
Oh,
this
yeah.
one, like this one was like a pop. The idea also like the polka dot man having all like the women like grinding on him reminded me of God, what's the name of like Smithers' assistant from The Simpsons? Or is that Smithers?
Wait, that's Smithers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's Smithers.
There's like that. I always see that screenshot. It's like Smithers, like he's like covering his eyes, and there's like two strippers like rubbing their asses on him, and he's like, no. That was like what I thought of when the polka dot
goes
man
to
was
his
just having
mom.
all the women like grind on him, and he's just like, like he didn't know what
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, there is a bar scene,
probably
but
saw
it
his
actually
mom.
like
They were all his mom
Yeah.
grinding on him.
yeah.
But like this one kind of had like a point to it, and it wasn't just the bar scene in the first movie is like, okay, it's only like you only remember it because it's the one scene where like characters actually sit down and talk for like a couple minutes without janky editing and like music montage and stuff. But this one, it's like, oh, it's actually like they're there for a reason. Again,
Yeah.
like you know why they're there, and
Yeah.
it serves a purpose.
Yeah, because in the first one, that the bar scene exists just so like at the end they can be like, no, we're a family. Because,
Yeah.
like they have that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's their shawarma scene,
Yeah.
which it would have
Yeah.
been better if they had done it at the end, and it was Sabaros.
Sparrows.
Sparrows.
Oh, speaking of the club scene, did you guys see the cameo in that scene too?
Lloyd Kaufman
No.
or
Didn't even-
Clementeff.
Yeah, that one.
That one. I noticed both of them.
Who?
Nice, dude.
Sorry, I'm.
The dancer, like the main dancer in the bar, is Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy,
Oh,
and then
Where was-
Lloyd.
Toboggan.
Yeah,
Where was Lloyd Toboggan at?
Lloyd Kaufman. He's there like right when they come in the bar. They like kind of like bump his shoulder, and he like looks over. It's a very like Stan Lee cameo. It's very quick.
Oh,
But
okay.
Lloyd Kaufman's the like head dude behind Troma, which did like Toxic Avenger and Class of Nukem High and stuff like that, and it's what James Gunn started out in. So
Oh, that's you were talking about that before. You either
Oh,
said
was
that on the podcast or like it said that at some point, but I remember you saying
I did
that.
mention earlier. I did mention that he worked for Troma. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
guy's-
a very deep cameo. That's super
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
Um,
You could say that like a lot of like Nathan Fillion in it is like he's another one of James Gunn's homies.
yeah.
Sean Gunn is like his Ted Raimi to James's Sam.
Oh yeah.
He's like his younger brother who he brings in his movies to like humiliate and kill. Basically.
Oh, that
Yeah.
sounds like TJ to Travis. You know what I mean? Like, that was just
That's
bring. I
gross.
mean, talking about like
except in real life.
I would say a nice callback would be playing Digimon. You know,
You know-
Travis always did that just
you know what
just to
else?
shit on you.
You know what else Sean Gunn is in?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
fuck.
Nice.
I think he's in a. I think James Gunn. Did James Gunn direct some episodes of Gilmore Girls? I feel like he did.
Maybe.
Oh,
But I know
thought
Sean-
That makes
fuck.
so much sense. He was like,
This-
that is what completely changed his
This
style.
shit goes
to
all
this
the way to the top.
Yeah. Oh my
I
word.
think I don't know. Maybe he.
What
did.
about Ratcatcher's dad too? I completely forgot about that cameo.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Yeah, and how he was still speaking with a New Zealand accent, but she had a French accent,
We don't
Or
talk
like-
about that.
Portuguese.
Wow. That
Um.
was fun.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
Okay, he
I
didn't do
was-
any Gilmore Girls.
Oh, okay.
Had his name taken off of it, I'm sure.
I
Some
was
reason-
trying to listen for that the last time I watched it. I was like, I was really trying to listen to his voice and be like, is he just doing his regular Kiwi accent or is that Portuguese?
It sounded like it.
I think so. I think it is just, but yeah, whatever.
For some reason, like I was surprised to see him. It took my brain a minute to register that like he's not contracted to Marvel. Like he's a director that can
Oh,
do
yeah.
anything he wants. I was like, is that legal for him? How did they pay for him to be
Well,
in? He
basically,
can't do that.
there's
mean,
so
James Gunn is-
many- Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he
Well, yeah,
wasn't really at the time, I don't think.
Yeah, it was some weird.
He got fired, and
He
but
got-
then there's
It's
Now
like
he's
old
back.
tweets.
Yeah.
there's a
yeah,
lot of people in this that are in Marvel movies.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
for some reason like I had registered
Especially
that, but
Guardians.
for some reason
well,
he was the
yeah,
only
'cause
one-
James Gunn stuff.
yeah, he was the only one that made me stop and be like, can he do that? But then it's just that stigma of like how we were talking about earlier, you know, when an actor gets pulled into the superhero world, they're just that for a long time. Then
Yeah.
it just goes to show it's like you see a fucking director that has just directed some, you know, superhero movies and you see him in an opposite, you know, brand and you're like, you can't do that. You're only supposed to be Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah, even Sylvester Stallone was in Guardians too. There's
shit.
another,
Oh.
yeah, there's a ton of them.
Didn't you
Uh,
guys see Guardians 1 completely wasted?
Not completely waste.
Not
Like
completely
we were,
wasted.
Well,
but-
let's
we
go
were
back
buzzed.
and watch the movie review on that one then.
yeah, we were buzzed.
We were buzzed, and then we sobered up during the movie, and that was also part of
Probably
what made
part
it
of
a
the
terrible experience.
Yeah, but I mean, I have watched it since and still don't like it.
Yeah.
I
mean,
think
it's
the second one is
formulaic.
great though. Second one
Second
is
one's
like
good.
one of my favorite.
Second
Like-
one's good.
Second one is fucking awesome.
I feel like
I
you
would
could
say-
watch the second one like standalone too. Like you don't really need the first one.
I think so too, because like I don't really remember shit from the first one.
Yeah, I
I've only
don't-
seen it
yeah.
twice, but like I
Did
didn't
James
retain
Gunn-
anything from it.
Did he direct both of those?
Yeah, he did. Wrote and
Okay.
directed those and this one. And to me, which I'm really interested. This is like fascinating to me, like the whole the mishmash, because like of the 3 like big budget superhero movies that James Gunn has done, the 2 Guardians movies and now Suicide Squad, me, Travis, and Isaiah all have like we all really enjoy, or no, Travis only likes one of them, but it's all like a different combination. Isaiah's the only one of us that like really likes the first one, Guardians. He doesn't like the second one at all. Me and Travis, it's the opposite. We both strongly dislike the first one and really like the second one. And then it's like all mixed up. Me and Isaiah like Suicide Squad. Travis doesn't like Suicide Squad. Which is interesting because like I think that's interesting, especially because I like the Suicide Squad for a lot of the same reasons that I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I think that the character dynamics, the fleshed out characters themselves, I think it is like the team of the Guardians and the team of that core Suicide Squad, like all the new guys that I was talking about, are just really well made characters, and they work together really well. No one ever feels like we were kind of saying about Killer Croc in the first movie, like he's just there. I don't think anybody in that core team feels like that in this movie. It's a really good ensemble piece where it's like everybody feels important and everybody has their moment. Everybody shines in some way or another.
Like Pete Davidson.
Well, no, that's why I'm talking about the main guys, not the first team that dies at the beginning. Everybody's just really. I don't know how else to say it. I think the characters are really great.
What's your
It
rating?
sounds like a wrap up.
This guy, I was just
like sorta. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything else to say? Because
No,
I could just go into that.
do it.
I guess I did want to. Yeah, I guess mine might be a little extended then, because I still felt like there's mostly about the characters. I just feel like I gotta defend it because we were just talking. Like we were shitting on the writing a lot. Well, not shitting on it, but like I think that the script to this movie is really strong. I love the pacing, and like we were talking about how, like the time jumps and stuff. A movie that comes to mind of a very different feel is the Clove Hitch Killer, and there's a big Nick. You've seen that one, right?
Yeah.
You know the
Is that in
time
the cup?
jump that I'm talking about.
Put that in the
It
cup.
is.
But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You know
I know
the
you're talking
time jump that I'm like near the end of it. Like
It's so crucial.
yeah, but that's how I feel like there's so many moments like that in this, or like that one in the Clove Hitch Killer, like it hinges on that. So it's not, and there's like a lot in this one, so it's not like everyone is as important as that one moment in the Clove Hitch Killer. But I think they all work in that same way, where like you're saying, like, you know, there's the whole thing with John Cena, and then he's about to kill Ratcatcher, and then it cuts back 8 minutes ago, and then you have this whole prolonged thing, and then it's like, oh yeah, Bloodsport, oh yeah, Peacemaker, okay, here we are again. And it happens like a lot, and there's a lot of really cool, like the pacing is just so on point. Like the way that like you follow the first team, they all die, you get the title sequence, the flashback, everybody, you know, in prison getting geared up again, and then it shows them back on the beach, the main team back on the beach, and then like you hear an explosion, and then it cuts back and you follow Harley again, continuing on from that opening scene. So you're like, oh, okay, cool, we're back here, because it's happening at the same time. And then there's also like another really cool transition I thought is like the bombs blow up and everything, and then Peter Capaldi gets fucking quartered by Sparrow and smashed against the window, and you see like this really visceral, violent, just explosion against the window, and you're like, whoa, cool. But then it pans down to John Cena, and now we're in this really crucial scene with John Cena versus Joel Kinnaman, which I thought it was really admirable of them to try to make it look like Joel Kinnaman could hold his own in a fight against John Cena.
Doing him some favors.
the two MAGA characters fighting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more, yeah, Rick Flag is MAGA, and then Peacemaker is like Mega MAGA or something.
Well, I feel like Rick Flag.
Peacemaker would be at the insurrection. The other ones would just be on Facebook, like watching.
Yeah.
Well, Rick Flag almost he has like a little bit of a redemption arc where like at the right before he dies, he's like, oh wait, he has a "Are we the baddies?" moment where he's like, wait, no, I'm gonna do the right thing, and then he just gets pierced in the heart and dies. It also reminded me of, like, the saving. Yeah, he's like, there's like intentional like shithead patriotism, and then there's like naive the American dream. Yeah, it's not too bad. I don't know, because I guess the first Rick Flag from Suicide Squad is more like you're booting your ass Toby Keith type of guy, but I think that's just bad writing.
Yeah,
but I guess in this
infinitely improved in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I actually cared about it when he died in this.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Well, it's
I
like
just wanted him to die in the original one.
Well, yeah. I mean, just like with the first film, there was just like no stakes, choreographed action sequences that purely existed as like visual fodder. It didn't push anything along other than like, well, we have to break the tension and the dialogue somehow, so here's an action sequence that's ultimately meaningless. Whereas like I feel like the fight sequences in this movie either serve to be like, I guess, comedic effect, where like people are just getting set on fire and blown up and like, gruesomely killed. And then it's like even that scene with John Cena and Rick Flag where like, I don't know, I guess it wasn't like a super clean, like choreographed, like, ha, 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 ha. It was like kind of messy, and they were like, bursting through glass and shit. And like, it wasn't like perfectly choreographed like the first movie was. Like there were actual stakes involved.
Yeah, right? Like it ended with like one of the main characters, one of the carryovers from the previous one dying. Like, so yeah.
Did you give it a rating, TJ?
No, I didn't, because we kind of went off, but I still can. I'll try to keep it short now, but we didn't talk about Ratcatcher enough. I fucking loved Ratcatcher. She's my favorite character.
Of course, dude. It's in my notes that TJ loves this movie so much because of it. There's a rat catcher that just can summon rats. That's the only.
It's not just because I do like that. I do think that's pretty sweet, and I love it anytime something that like a movie or show like focuses so much on like a relationship with like. I love that the final thing you see in the movie, minus like the after credits thing with like Weasel and stuff. But the final thing in like the main chunk of the movie is Bloodsport petting Sebastian. I love it when a movie ends on something like
a rat getting petted. That's my favorite thing in a movie is when rats get petted, dude.
There's a mini series that I want to reference, but it's called The Night Of, that like has ends in like a similar way, but like I don't want to give anything away because I think you guys should watch it. It's an awesome mini series. I don't know how to say it, but like these like just little moments like that. Like it's just a rat, but he finally is like, okay, I'll pet it. And
it's just like The Departed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I even like King Shark. I like how stupid he is, but you still get the fact that like he's lonely and it's not super in your face with it. Yeah, I just felt like I should shout them out a little bit more. I teared up with like the climax where with Taika's thing with like rats are the most despised creatures. If they have a purpose, so do we all. And then like the cut back to her. I just think everything just like came back and like, yeah, it made me, the ending of it made me tear up. I'm also not like a sucker for superhero movies nowadays. I'm pretty burnt out on them, but this one's special to me. It's a pretty solid 8 for me. I would almost say 8.5. It's I really like it, but I'm gonna stick with 8.
Okay. I was gonna say my last note is The rats are the proletariat rising up against their corporate master. Yeah, for me, I think I feel like this movie works as a standalone. Like it's almost like you could totally
Yes.
forget that like the first Suicide Squad even
100%.
happened, because like yeah, you get enough. Like it fixes everything that was wrong with the first film, and does it so efficiently. The only thing, and maybe I need to rewatch it again, but the only thing that was like, I guess, a negative experience for me was like I felt like it lulled a lot, and I think this had to do with like the Harley Quinn sequence too, where she was being a princess, and like I was like, once she just abruptly shot that dude and like watched him bleed out, I was like, oh shit, like kind of laughing. And then after that, I was just like, okay. And it like kind of like for Travis, it wasn't until like the last 45 minutes or so where it like picked up for me again. But I will say, like, in terms of like tickling my lizard brain, this movie really hit it on all those spots. I will be like the lonely Deadpool stan, where like that is I don't know. I contain
Embrace your
multitudes.
individuality.
It's I'm like Nicolas Cage in Wild at Heart with like the snakeskin jacket. It represents my individuality and like whatever.
But it's got Deadpool on the back instead of
yeah. My personal freedoms and individuality.
yeah.
But yeah, goddamn, the first 15 minutes alone, I think, are worth it, because that sequence, I was like tears streaming down my face, like laughing hard. So I mean, just for that, I would recommend it. Yeah, it's leaps and bounds, like exactly what you said, like about the characters, like feeling like the movie didn't require a scene where they like basically air out all of their like dirty laundry and mommy and daddy issues at a bar that like felt so forced, so they can go into the climax and like actually care about each other. Like it did it, like the pacing, like you said, it did it a really good job throughout the entire movie to like give you little glimpses and snippets of like the characters and why they are who they are, and like them like growing together like as a group. Yeah, I think I'm sitting strong 7. I'm going back to Fantano rules. Okay. I'm thinking like strong 7, so like 7.5, bordering on an 8, but like I don't know. I need to watch it again, because like the middle part, I just kind of was like, I checked out a little bit. Like I was looking at my phone and like kind of looking up, and then like, yeah, okay, and then yeah.
There's part of me that's like, oh, I feel like a bad movie person for giving a superhero movie an 8, but like there's a few that stand out to me, and like I think this one falls in there. But like, and yeah, sorry, I'll let people go. I could keep talking about this.
Well, it's just like I think the bar is so low that like whenever like a superhero movie like goes for like that hard R rating, and they go for like
R rating,
the yeah, I was, halfway through that sentence, I was like, that's not how I should phrase it. Jesus. But every time like they go for like they swear, and like people get blown up R. And like the strong R, sure. Yeah, every time, basically taking any risk at all. Yeah. Like having any sort of like not edginess for the sake of edginess, but at any time they actually like, yeah, this is going to be a strong R-rated movie. We're not going to like hold back and just have like faceless aliens that, they get shot and then like they just kind of fall and you don't really see anything, or like
faceless
jokes
people. Because they have aliens.
Well, yeah, the starfish.
Technically, they have an eye. I think that's a face.
Yeah.
Which, like, even in the first one, they are supposed to be like Enchantress taking normal people and turning them into those aliens.
I didn't even think of that. But like
they're so unrecognizable as like the people that they once were that you don't feel as bad. Whereas these people are like innocent people that just got hit in the face with starfish and then they just get mowed down.
Yeah.
So it's like it takes chances, it takes risks, and it's not afraid to like be raunchy and gross and dirty. And it's like, for a superhero movie, like I guess that's all it takes for me to be like, oh, okay, I can get behind this.
Yeah. It's that, and the characters for me. Like everything you said, and I just think, yeah, again, those characters are so strong for me. Yeah, I know, Travis. Make your faces. Give your fucking rating.
I don't know. They're definitely better than the first one.
Okay.
Isaiah said the thing that like he also saw a bunch of people saying stuff about Ratcatcher. I don't really get that. I guess
I could go into it more, but
no
I
thanks.
feel like
No,
we talked
no,
so much.
no.
Okay, you just don't want to hear like any opposition.
No,
to
I'm
your
just so
opinions.
sick of talking about this movie already.
Yeah, okay,
And I also have to like, yeah, it's we
I
were
know, it's
to go shorter, and it's 2.5 hours right now. Is my
Yeah.
record. I don't know. I just
It's your-
she's all right. There's nothing like okay, she had a bad childhood and her dad died, and like she has a wand that summons rats. Okay, cool. Kind of the same thing with like Bloodsport. It's the same thing where that whole thing kind of was interesting at first. It was like the better version of the Will Smith thing where like, but then at the end, like they leave off with like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I don't even like love you. Why would you even want to be around me? I'm a terror. I have nothing for you. You suck. You suck. And then at the end, she sees her dad saving the world, and she's like, "That's my dad."
That was like the corniest part about the ending.
Yeah, and like, yeah, the guy that you hate that also like pretty much hates you. Okay, cool. Although he did go on the mission for whatever.
Yeah.
Polka Dot Man was cool and interesting, I thought, but they didn't do enough with him. Like there needed to be more with him and less with, sorry, TJ, Ratcatcher. I think that Peacekeeper, whatever, he was also pretty interesting, even though he stands like for the like he's
Peace
just kind of like,
borrows.
yeah, he stands for like kind of the opposite of like I don't know. I don't
He stands
like
for
him.
the flag and kneels for the cross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Harley's just Harley. Who else isn't it? King Shark. I don't like King Shark like at all. Nah, don't like King Shark.
Better than Killer Croc.
Better than Killer Croc. But that's I mean, like I
The
said
bar's
before,
so low.
yeah, that's like a I mean, King Croc is a negative, and like
What if
King
what if
Shark's a 1 out of 10.
I just thought of something. What if at the end of the movie, well, in this one it's different because they like got themselves out of prison. But like, what if at the end of the movie they were like, okay, what do you guys want for completing the mission? And King
yeah.
Shark was like, Shark Week.
Yeah. Yeah, so this gets like a super 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 light 6 for me.
That's
really
better than I thought.
I thought you were gonna give it like Chunking Express levels.
No, like pretty much. No, I think before like the first hour and a half, whatever it was, I would maybe give like a 4. And then the ending was kind of like this isn't gonna make sense mathematically, but the ending was like a 7. But it kind of.
Oh, I see. Like, yeah, percentage
Yeah.
wise, it wouldn't.
Yeah, it doesn't make like like time wise and math wise, it doesn't like. Yeah, but yeah, it's. I kind of want to go 5.5, but it's like, it's a very very 6 has been in my head basically since I watched it, so I'm just sticking with that. I mean it like, it barely nudges into 6.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw, Isaiah said it's all right. It gets a 7.5 out of 10.
He said that was He said that in the chat.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we've all been saying, relatively, this is way better than Suicide Squad from 2016. But it's a fun watch because like the funny violence, the interesting violence, I guess, the unique ways they go about it, and then story is solid. I like that we kind of mentioned it before, how the first one, it was like, this is world ending, universe ending situation from the get-go. like this is gonna happen. This one was more like you need to do this mission, go just destroy this thing in that operation, and then come back. And then they get there, and it turns into oh shit, now we're in a thing bigger, but it still won't. It's still not world ending. I mean, it's just on this island for now. Just wants the island. It's whatever. It was like that was the Star-Lord. You know, that was a cool villain. It was interesting to see. And then yeah, like the story was solid. Like the characters, the backstory, the growth, that was really cool to see. I'm like in between. Well, I'm more on Travis's side with Ratcatcher. Like Ratcatcher is cool. I know why TJ's biased because he likes rats. And
Yeah.
but Ratcatcher's cool. But yeah, it's you know, she has a wand that was her dad's, and she oh yeah, she has narcolepsy. Definitely, dude. She sleeps way too much.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a joke about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also why TJ likes her so much, because you know,
Relatable.
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 yeah.
Are you narcoleptic?
Yeah.
That would be yeah.
Then yeah, like the character backstory was believable, fleshed out. Writing was way better. The violence was fucking awesome. It's a fun watch. Like I don't know if I would watch it again soon, but it's a fun watch if you just want to like put something on like a Saturday afternoon. You're not doing much. I'm gonna give it like a 6.5.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like what you gave the Discovery.
But yeah, Discovery is a cool concept.
I think that like this might be the highest rated movie that I've rated. I mean, that I don't really intend to ever watch again.
I would rewatch it only to like watch it with someone else and see their reaction to Pete Davidson getting cratered.
I see. Like I think like the way that like both of you guys highlighted Ratcatcher is like, oh, she has a wand that controls rats. Like, so what? Like, I don't care what her power is. I think she's
King.
I think she's an interesting character. I really like her relationship with Bloodsport. I guess that's why.
I think the point that was raised about Polka Dot Man, about like, well, why didn't he just do that the whole time? I think you can make that point about Ratcatcher, where like, why didn't she just summon all of the world's rats?
Have rats all the time, yeah.
Because like
didn't have enough, like,
ultimately that's
batteries
what
on
killed
hand.
the guy at the end.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I felt a little dirty giving it an 8 because I'm like, oh, but it is like a dumb, fun movie, but I think you can enjoy those. Like even if I understand, I think this is the same rating I gave Ikiru. I think I gave that an 8 too. I can understand that Ikiru is a much more well-made movie. You know, it's a much more movie. But like, if I enjoy something as much as I like this, I'm like, shouldn't I still like? I don't know.
So if he at the end, like while he was on the swing, a rat came out and he pet the rat, you'd be like, ooh.
You guys are focusing too, just because I like animals, you guys are focusing too much on the fact that it's rats. If she was like, look, if she was Raccoon Catcher, would I have liked her more? Yeah, maybe. But
Definitely, there's no
like,
maybe in that.
if she was,
100% you would have.
I don't know, if she was Poison Ivy instead or something like, but if she was written the exact same way, I would like her just as much. Like,
I mean, I think we all kind of like animals here. I think I'm gonna be the first one to
hate animals, TJ.
stand
That's
up.
not what we're trying to say.
I just hate all the animals in this movie. I hate Weasel, I hate King Shark, and I hate Ratcatcher. I don't mind the rat. They don't kill it like they do with like Rocket. I hate Rocket Raccoon. I hate that shit.
I don't understand how you're saying this stuff, but you're saying you still like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. He is like Rocket Raccoon is like the heart of that movie.
Yeah, he is. But it's kind of like a Suicide Squad versus the Suicide Squad thing, where like I hate him in the first one, and I hate him in like everything else pretty much except for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like he gets an upgrade for that one.
Okay.
Also, I meant to say this earlier, but I think it's funny how they went from in the first Suicide Squad, where they tried to remake Guardians of the Galaxy with the needle drop shit, and then they went out and got the Guardians of the Galaxy director to be like,
That was the first thing I thought of when I heard who the director of this movie was. I was like, oh, they just failed the first time, so they got the guy who did it.
yeah,
The needle droppy thing, that again is just, it's even pre Guardians. That again is just a James
no, I
Gunn.
know.
He's one of those guys like a Tarantino who's just like
They called in the wolf from Pulp Fiction to follow on the Tarantino bent.
They
I don't get that reference,
the needle drops seem to like
The wolf
fall
from
way
Pulp
off
Fiction?
too after
Harvey
like
Keitel.
I know.
after
I
an
was
hour.
kind of. What'd you say, Travis?
Sorry.
I think the needle drops for the Suicide Squad drop off like very like maybe more than half, like earlier than
yeah,
halfway.
it's not.
So it's
not as-
not that bad, but there are some. Yeah,
It's
anyways,
also
Harvey
like
Keitel.
it's also more tolerable to like. It's not just like fucking Bohemian Rhapsody and like the.
It's not like a
most,
classic rock radio station.
40. Yeah, like I'll take Louis Prima over Bohemian Rhapsody like any day.
I kind of like these games, but the first one kind of reminds me of like Borderlands, especially like the first Borderlands.
The first Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, like how they use the like the jump cut, zoom in, like hyper focus with the like completely out of focus like background, basically like that basically like this thing, and then it says like this super general right here, and it's like it's playing Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It does that kind of thing. That's yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, try the next movie.
Oh,
yeah.
How long has it been since the last movie you drew from the cup was Amadeus, or was it Suicide Squad?
No, it was Amadeus.
It was Amadeus.
That's like 2 months ago.
months. About 2 months. Yeah.
I'm so excited to draw
since it was
maybe
big.
possibly one of my movies from the cup now.
Let's see. Oh, we don't have to go into this now, but I thought we don't have to do it this way, but I was thinking we could do something different for October because I'm watching horror movies all October. So I was thinking either I could make a smaller horror cup that then we can just put all those in, or
I got the bad movie.
Or I have an idea, but yours might be better.
Sleepaway Camp.
Oh shit!
Sleepaway Camp.
Was it?
That's not like we could do that. That's not like I don't know if I'd group that in, but with like the bad.
It's not
movie,
like
but-
Ben and Arthur, but it's not like it's not a
not-
good movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe.
What was the parrot? The parrot from Sleepaway Camp. What did he?
Are you talking about Sleepaway Camp 3?
Yeah,
It was,
that might be 3.
Oh, I thought it was the first. I've only seen the first one. Doesn't he have like a parrot that's just like somebody says something about an ass? You know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about the third. Your ass stinks.
I've only seen the first one.
That's number 3. With
okay.
the I'm almost positive. I mean, I feel like if you haven't seen it, we have definitely like referenced and talked about the third one together.
Okay, because I feel like I've only seen the first one, and I feel like the bird says "your ass stinks" in it.
That's definitely the third one.
Okay.
Thing.
Yes.
Those are one.
Dream
Those are
Warriors.
both. See, those are both in the cup. Well, at least Alien and the Thing are. Oh yeah, now I changed it. So now good cup is Evie, and then bad cup is small Evie.
Those look like rats.
I was gonna say, I was literally just gonna say, like, what if she was Evie Catcher? That would be fucking awesome. Well, yeah, either. So yeah, we make a cup of like the horror ones, or we just each pick a movie. So like we each just pick a horror movie. So,
Okay,
but I
Sleepaway
don't.
Camp.
Do we want to like?
That's my pick.
Do we want to like go off of the cup again for so much? But,
Yeah.
We can figure it out. We'll
yeah,
figure
We'll
it out.
figure it out.
There's like 2 horror movies that I can actually watch while looking at the screen because I fucking hate horror movies and I'm terrible at watching them because I'm a giant pussy. But there's only 2 that I can like fully watch on screen, and I would be
One
down
of
to
them
watch.
Scary Movie 1, and the other one's Scary Movie 2.
Okay. This one I had a note on the doc because this is one that There was a
Wish
movie that we
Upon.
did
Yep,
before.
Evan. Wish Upon. That movie
that
rules.
that one's in
I
the
think-
bad cup.
yeah.
Yeah, you did that one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So this is one where it's called Close Up, directed by Abbas Kiarostami. It's from 1990, and it's one that I'm gonna say don't look into it too much, but there's a couple movies on here that like I feel like need a little bit of a preamble before you guys watch it. So it's based on it's a documentary on a real life trial of a man who impersonated a filmmaker and conned a family into believing they would be in his movie. But this documentary features all of the people who like it's like a documentary / like reenactment like film, so it's kind of like mashed in, or like what do you call it, like a docudrama. But all of the people who are in this play themselves in this movie.
Okay.
So the con artist is in it, along with the people that he conned, that he is like in the scenes. I don't know. It's kind of like it just seems like
very
a
meta.
really interesting. It is very. The Abbas Kiarostami is a very meta director, and this just always intrigued me.
Did you watch Casting John Bonet?
No,
That was like a Netflix documentary, but sort of in a similar vein. They told the story of the John Bonet Ramsey murder, but they told it through the lens of auditioning people to play the family and friends in a documentary. But they basically told the story of what happened to her and the theories surrounding it through the lens of casting people that would be hypothetically playing the family in a documentary. But like they never make the documentary, but it's like that's the lens. Like, that's the first thing I thought of. You should put it in the cup. It's really interesting and it's really
Casting
good.
John Bonet. There's that's like oddly similar to yet another movie called Christine Plays Christine. That I haven't seen this, but it's like it's a making of this actress who's like an actual actress. I've seen her in like a couple things. I don't know her name, but like she's playing this newscaster. I can't remember her last name, but a real person who killed herself on air. And it's like her like getting ready for the role for this movie, like not a documentary, but for like an actual like narrative movie. But like there is no movie. It's just this documentary. So it's like it's weird how many, like you would think that this is a very niche thing, but
it'd be like if
hey,
they told the
like
story
this
of
movie.
Bud Dwyer like in Air Bud or something.
That's what I always think of too. Yeah, it's very I've seen the movie Christine about her. That's pretty good with Rebecca Hall.
All right.
Yeah, anyways.
It's on YouTube too, by the way. For
what?
free. The movie
Close Up?
Close Up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. I was really happy because I was like, I don't know where else that would be.
You can rent it on Amazon.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for Close Up, directed by Abbas Kiarostami, watch it before next week. It's on YouTube, as was just stated. Also, we got all our socials: Instagram, Facebook. We now have a YouTube. If you're listening to us in podcast form, we also stream on Twitch. We try to do Fridays, but it's sometime during the week we stream, and vice versa. If you're listening to us or if you're watching us on Twitch, we have a podcast. Search There Will Be Duds on any and all platforms for like whichever orientation or whatever. Where we got our brand on everything. And anyways, I am your narcoleptic rodent scavenger, street urchin,
Okay.
Space Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always,
I am the better half of Pete Davidson's cratered face. Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
I'm the newest Sabaro franchisee, Travis, aka the Super General.
Borrow the Conqueror.
And I am your multiple brain star lord, Deeks. As always, as sometimes as maybe.
All right. Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time. Bye-bye.